Kickstart your Christmas by winning a bank-busting £250,000 in tax-free cash. For your chance to win, head to winhappy.me/podcast. Lines close at 5 p.m. on Friday the 3rd of November 2023. UK residents, over 18s only, T's and C's apply. Enter now at winhappy.me/podcast.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lucas Jaguar. Here, wherever and whenever you need them. Visit them in store or online. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard as we get back to league action after a busy European midweek. Celtic impressed against Atletico Madrid. Can they do the same in the capital against Hibs? If they do stretch their lead at the top, Rangers have the chance to respond against Hearts tomorrow. But before we get to that, St Mirren, St Johnstone, Motherwell, Ross County and Livy Dundee make up your Saturday offering in the company of Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Europe was eventful in midweek, but will there be after effects for Celtic at Easter Road today? There were a lot of tired legs after that 2-2 draw with Atletico Madrid in the Champions League on Wednesday night, and Rio Hatate is now lost to Brendan Rodgers for weeks. In the world of a draw's a disaster, a defeat's a catastrophe, Celtic are walking a tightrope in Edinburgh. All the rest should have no excuses. Motherwell and St Mirren look good for the points against Ross County and St Johnstone respectively, and Roger Hannah could see an away win for Dundee at Livy. But what a privilege it is to be in the Super Scoreboard studio with a coach who's already clocked up a win this weekend. I give you Mark Wilson.
Yeah, everyone tuned in to find out how Partick Thistle's under-18s got on last night. It's the result on everybody's lips. But before we do, let's leave them with a sense of suspense. Big games in the Premiership today.
Certainly is. None more so than at Easter Road, where Celtic were defeated 4-2 at the end of last season. So they know how difficult a place it is to go, and especially off the back of so much effort put in midweek. Will they find it difficult? Will soon to be discovered. The team news. And then the other fixtures are quite intriguing. Motherwell v Ross County. Ross County win that for part today, then they leapfrog Motherwell. It's quite an odd league, bunched up. Great fixtures around the country, and also tomorrow.
Looking forward to it. I like the lads. I think we'll have plenty of action, plenty of talking points, plenty of goals. I think there's some really tasty games there. Hibs, Celtic, Motherwell, Ross County. I think St Mirren, St Johnstone's a cracker, because St Mirren want to keep that gap between them and Hearts in third and fourth, and St Johnstone definitely need points. They need to start getting off the bottom of the table.
Strap yourselves in. One thing guaranteed on a Saturday afternoon is drama and controversy in the Scottish Premiership, and that is what we've got to look forward to. We'll build up to kick-off. We'll take you through all the main talking points as they happen, and then of course your chance to air your grievances when the games finish a bit later on. You can stay in touch all afternoon at Clyde SSB on Twitter, and like I say, I'll give you the nod when it is time to pick up the phone and put these three in their place. But we've got four big Premiership games this afternoon, lots of different storylines elsewhere down the divisions, reflecting on Europe and everything else that goes along with it. But let's start in the capital, because Hibs against Celtic can be one of those dramatic fixtures, and Andrew McLean is there.
Yeah, well, what a midweek it was for Celtic. Brilliant performance, a huge atmosphere, and Brendan Rodgers says his players will be raring to go again this afternoon at a venue that, interestingly, Rodgers has never won as Celtic manager. However, they have been flawless in the league over the last 2 months, so the aim is to continue that. But a new challenge for Brendan Rodgers and Nick Montgomery. Rodgers saying yesterday he respects the way that Nick Montgomery's trying to play, that attacking looking 4-4-2, so should hopefully make for an exciting game here. But they did leave themselves open last weekend, didn't they? They were picked apart at Ibrox. Certainly some tweaks needed going into this one. Montgomery knows that they need to defend better as a unit, and then that will allow them to sort of build that foundation and let their attacking talent flourish. But let's have a look at the team lines. On his 42nd birthday, Nick Montgomery makes two changes. Hanlon and Lafondra drop out from that 4-0 defeat last weekend. It's Rocky Bashiri and Jair Tavares that come in, so it's David Marshall continuing in goal. The back four: Lewis Miller, Rocky Bashiri, Will Fish and Jordan Obita. It'll be Martin Boyle, Jimmy Jeggo, Joe Newell and Jair Tavares. Across the middle, the two up top, Dylan Venta and Ellie Ewan. The substitutes: Wallacott, Hanlon, Levitt, Stevenson, Lafondra, Del Ferrier, Campbell, Whittaker and Landers. All the talk for Celtic was who was going to replace Rio Hatate, because the rest of the team really does pick itself, but Rio Hatate out for a few weeks with that hamstring injury, and it's Paulo Bernardo that gets the shout in midfield. So Joe Hart in goal, the back four: Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Liam Scales and Greg Taylor. The midfield three: Matt O'Reilly, Callum McGregor and Paulo Bernardo. Dyson Maeda and Lewis Palma either side of Kyogo. The substitutes: Bain, Phillips, Yang, Turnbull, O, Iwata, Forrest, Ralston and Johnson. The referee, Alan Muir. The VAR here at Easter Road is Don Robertson.
It's a fascinating game, Mark Wilson, because one simple way of explaining it would possibly be if Celtic play the way they did against Atletico Madrid and Hibs play the way they did against Rangers, it will be Brendan Rodgers' first win at Easter Road. But as we know, football doesn't always work that way.
Well, that's quite a remarkable start. I didn't know that when Andrew said it. So Brendan Rodgers,
that's why he's here.
Exactly, he knows his stuff better than we do. But Brendan Rodgers will certainly know what to expect at Easter Road and know how difficult the game's going to be. I think that's reflective in his team's selection, taking nothing for granted. And I think it's easy to see why you would go for this team again. Now, many people may say I did as well, that they put so much into midweek that surely has to take something out the legs of those players today. But I think he's trying to build off the back of two very good performances. One at Tynecastle last week, where it was the best I've seen Celtic play in the league, followed by that first 45 minutes especially against Atletico Madrid that was simply outstanding. So he's trying to keep the same team and go again, and I think he will get a good performance out of those players. Bernardo's interesting one, and a lot of callers the other night seemed to think he was a worthy replacement at the time for Hatate. I still think he's maybe short a wee bit, but maybe that's just lack of game time. But certainly the front three, Maeda, Kyogo and now Palma, are all shining brightly at the minute.
What
Brendan
about
Rodgers
recovery time?
Well, they wouldn't have done anything, Hugh, at all on Thursday. Very little, I guess, yesterday as well. So, listen, we're early into the season.
It's also nothing new. Teams everywhere play midweek Saturday, midweek Saturday.
Yeah, I don't see any surprises, because right now, especially in the middle of the park, who would you take out? The front three are starting to cause havoc. Really look like a front three bags of pace. Kyogo's banging in the goals. Scales and Carter Vickers seem to be the number one partnership at the back. Two full backs top for herself. Celtic have got a big squad, and Brendan Rodgers did say last week, look, I'm managing the squad by telling the lads it's not going to be the same team every single week. And I understand where Hugh's coming from, because all we heard on Thursday night was Celtic supporters talking about fatigue in the second half. I didn't think, and I've said it and I still stand by it, I didn't think it was fatigue in the second half at all. I think they were playing a top quality side. You ain't going to dominate Atletico Madrid for 90 minutes the way you did in the first 45. So I'm not surprised at that. I think Celtic will have plenty in their locker this afternoon.
Interesting to see Hibs approach, Hugh, because Rangers were good last week, but Hibs also took a bit of flack. I think naive is a word that's been used. Were they a bit too open? Was the 4-4-2 part of their undoing? It looks on the face of it like Nick Montgomery's going to give it another go. But I suppose we'll find out in game whether he's learned anything.
One win in his last 5 games, and Hibs in the bottom 6. The club where you don't get much time. Sean Maloney will tell you that. But everyone impressed by Nick Montgomery, particularly on the day when he got a 2-2 draw in the other half of Edinburgh when he was 2 down. But you can't be too dogmatic about the way you approach the game. You cannot, after a going over from Rangers, say I will play the same way against Celtic and I'll prove that it works, because you might take another sore one, and at that point you look foolish. So his approach to the game will be interesting today.
We'll find out. It might well work in the end, but it should be a good one. Brendan Rodgers looking for his first ever win at Easter Road. Plenty more to come in the build-up from that game. Let's go just along the road to St Mirren against St Johnstone. David Friel, home side would be big favourites for most people, I'd imagine.
Yeah, big favourites, Gordon. I think it's fair to say. I do love a battle of the Saints, but I just wonder what we're going to get here today. 3 weeks without a game for both of these sides. That's quite a long layoff at this stage. Obviously, that national break and then last week's call-off. So you would expect both to be a bit rusty, but St Johnstone especially, they'll need to bat it straight away because they're chasing their first league win of the season. Rock bottom, 4 points from 8 games. It's not been good enough. I think most of us tipped them to go down. They look relegation material already. Stephen McLean and his players struggled badly. They have had 2 draws in the last 2 games against Livy and Aberdeen, but they really need a win just to get their season up and running. We've been saying that for weeks, but I think the time has to be now for them. And the omens aren't great here. They actually had a decent record against St Mirren last season, but they haven't won in Paisley for 5 years. And obviously, as you said, St Mirren big favourites. It's a tough one. They're a really good side, strong home record as well. So Stephen McLean and his players will really need to be at it. As for St Mirren, they kind of lost to the Rangers 3-0 in their last game in early October, but I think the manager felt that Ryan Strain's first half red card had a real big say in that result. He'll be looking for them to bounce back today. As I said, they have made this place a bit of a fortress in the last 18 months. And if they do get a win today, they go level with Rangers on 18 points in second place, and obviously open up a little bit of gap from the teams below them as well. So that's a huge game for Stephen Robinson and his players. He's made 2 changes. Ryan Strain, as we say, gets sent off against Rangers. He drops out. Ryan Flynn comes in at wing back, and Mikael Mandron is preferred to Toyosi Olasanya up front. It's going to be a 3-4-2-1 for St Mirren. Zach Hemming in goals as usual, Marcus Fraser, Alec Gogic, Richard Taylor at the back, Ryan Flynn, Keanu Bacchus, Mark O'Hara and Scott Tanzer in midfield with Colin McMenamin and Greg Kelty in behind Mikael Mandron. Subs for St Mirren are Erminski, Bolton, Dunn, Small, Boyd Munce, Jameson, Grieve, Namani and Olasanya. As for St Johnstone, it was a 0-0 draw against Aberdeen in early October for them. Steve McLean has made 3 changes. Dre Wright's injured. Luke Jeffcott and Graham Carey also drop out. Dialang Jayasime, he comes in for his debut. James Brown also comes in, and Nicky Clark is back for his first appearance since February. That's a big call from Stephen McLean, but he needs goals, so he's put Nicky Clark straight in. Hasn't played for 9 or 10 months. It's going to be a 3-4-2-1 for St Johnstone as well. It's Dimitar Mitov in goals, James Brown, Liam Gordon, Andy Considine, with Dialang Jayasime, Sven Sprangler and Matt Smith. Luke Robinson in midfield with Max Kucheravi and Dara Costello in behind Nicky Clark. Subs for St Johnstone are Richards, Gallagher, McGowan, May, McPherson, Kane, Jeffcott, Olafunwa and Turner Cook. The referee at the Smiza Stadium is David Dickinson and the VAR is Andrew Dallas.
Looking forward to that one. Let's hear from Stephen Robinson.
It's a big game for us. Last season we only picked up 2 points against St Johnstone, which was disappointing. If you want to be a top 6 side, you have to try and put the bottom 6 to bed, as soon as you can. That means by beating them and taking points off them. There's not a lot in the division. There's, as I say, St Johnstone, I think they've got some very, very good players. I think Stephen's a very good young manager as well. So it's a tough test. It really is a tough test. They've got boys coming back from injury that make them stronger. Good experience coming back. So we know that we have to be at the top of our game, and it's a big game for us to get the 3 points before a difficult game at Celtic Park on Wednesday.
And above all that boring stuff about teams and form and all the rest of it, David Friel, you're going to get a look at ponytailless Stevie May. Things you never thought you would say. He shaved his head since St Johnstone last played. You never get used to that.
I can't, Gordon. I thought it was him when I saw it, and I thought, it can't be Stevie May. You're that used to seeing him since he was 17 or 18 with the long flowing locks. But it's true, he has shorn them over the break. So if he does come on the pitch today, he is going to look completely different to he has done for the last 10-15 years.
Unbelievable. It's like that summer when Gordon Dalziel returned for pre-season and his hair was suddenly white and it was brown when he left us in the May.
Forget that.
I blossomed since then. So
I agree with you. I agree with you.
But listen, it's worse than that, because he and Mark Wilson were discussing grooming tips in the studio before we come on air. Gordon Dale wants to know how to get his hair up like Mark Wilson.
They're beyond help. They really are. One well-groomed man at Fir Park. He's had to fight his way through his adoring crowd, revisiting one of his former clubs. Fraser Wishart keeping an eye on Motherwell, Ross County.
Not sure I'm enjoying all this hair chat. Not got much on the top of my head these days. I was actually a supporter outside with a photograph of me asking for my autograph, and I had the mullet from the mid-80s, so it was good to see, but it was sad to see I've no longer got that mullet and that hair on the top of my head. But anyway, looking forward to this game, as you say, my old team Motherwell. But I look at their recent form, it tells us why this is an important game for the Fir Park side. A great start to the season, 10 points in the first 4 games, but they've lost 4 league games in a row since they beat Hearts at Tynecastle on the 3rd of September. Only 1 goal in those 4 games, and they now find themselves in a position, as Mark Wilson was talking about earlier, that if Ross County win today, they'll jump ahead of the Fir Park men in the table. They've actually been playing quite well but scoring goals has been a problem. Hit with injuries to strikers will be Ken Wilkinson, along with Mika Biereth, the young on loan striker. Really excited the Motherwell fans at the start of the season. He's back on the bench today, alongside experienced defender Callum Butcher, so the squad begins to look a wee bit better from Stuart Kettlewell's point of view. He's made a slight change to the formation today to try and get those goals, 2 strikers up front to try and get on the score sheet. The county's form, similar to Motherwell's, actually haven't won since 2nd of September. Picked up a couple of draws last in midweek against Dundee, but they know a win today would shoot above Motherwell up a couple of places. And as always, Malcolm Mackay getting the best out of his squad, grinding out results, but he knows that County don't have a particularly great record under his tutelage. Against Motherwell, no wins in their last 5, only 1 draw, so they know this will be a tough one for them. Might just be a game that suits them though. County can just sit back and frustrate Motherwell with a short of goals, get the crowd on the back of the home side and use the pace of Murray and Brophy, who's back in the team today, and the skill of Jan Danda on the break. So a really interesting game, I think, here at Fir Park. Both could really do it with a win. As I said, just a one change to the Motherwell team from the last time they played, which was actually 3 weeks ago. Shaw comes in for the suspended Lennon Miller, not Lee Miller, it's his father, Lennon Miller, who was sent off against Livingston 3 weeks ago. So they go 3-5-2 with Slattery and Spittle dropping a wee bit deeper. Liam Kelly's in goals, Paul McGinn, Bevis Mugabe and Ben Casey at the back, Stephen O'Donnell, Callum Slattery, Harry Payton, Blair Spittle and Brodie Spencer across the middle, with Ollie Shaw and Theo Bair as the strikers. Aston Oxborough, Georgie Gent, Davor Drakovsky, Shane Blaney, Mika Biereth, Luca Ross, Max Ross, Callum Butcher and Connor Wilkinson are the subs for County. They've made 3 changes. Dropping onto the bench are Jordan White, Smith and Purrington, with Allardyce, Brophy and Harbin coming in. So 3-4-1-2 for them. Ross Laidlaw's in goals, Conor Randall, Jack Baldwin and Ryan Leake at the back, James Brown, Victor Lature, Scott Allardyce and George Harmon in midfield, with Jan Danda behind the 2 strikers, Simon Murray and Eamon Brophy. They've only got 8 subs. Ross Monroe, the goalkeeper, Ben Purrington, Kyle Turner, Max Sheaf, Scott High, Alex Samuel, Jordan White and Dylan Smith. The referee today at Fir Park, Graham Granger, and the VAR is Nick Walsh.
And last but not least, Livingston against Dundee, watched by Roger Hannah.
Yeah, David Martindale was very unhappy last week, Gordon, with the performance in that 3-1 defeat now Plastico down at Kilmarnock, but I'm about to cheer him up, because if you actually look at Livy's form, particularly here at the Tony Macaroni Arena, it's probably reasons to be cheerful for Martindale. That defeat to Celtic here last month was their only home defeat in any competition since the 4th of March. Almost 8 months ago. They're 7th in the league. They're only outside the top 6 on goal difference alone, and they have found a very reliable penalty taker. Sean Kelly has netted from the spot in Livy's last 3 games, and if he scores today, he becomes the first Livingston player to score in 4 consecutive games since Derek Lilly way back in the day. Livy also have a great record against Dundee. They took 10 points from the 12 against the Dark Blues when they were last in the top flight a couple of years ago, and they haven't lost to Dundee home or away since May 2019, when the former Livy manager Kenny Miller, I'm not sure what happened to him, returned to the Tony Macaroni. He scored the only goal in a 1-0 win. So David Martindale shouldn't be too miserable. Maybe he's only made 2 changes from that defeat at Kelly 7 days ago. Scott Pittman and Mo Sangari both dropped to the bench. In come Christian Montano and Stephen Bradley, who were substitutes last week. So it's Shamal George in goal. It's a back 3 of Louis DeLucas, the skipper Michael Devlin and Christian Montano. Across the middle, Dan Mackay, Jason Holt, Sean Kelly, who'll step forward into a midfield role today, and James Penrice. And then it's Stephen Bradley behind the front 2 of Bruce Anderson and Joel Newbley. On the bench, Hamilton, Pittman, Brandon, Welsh, Hayes, Sangari, Shinnie, Lloyd, Guthrie and Stephen Kelly. And as for Dundee, 0-0 at home to Ross County on Tuesday night. It was also 0-0 at Hibernian in their previous game 3 weeks earlier. They've only scored in 1 game since the 2nd of September, and they're without a win in the league since they beat Hearts at Dens more than 2 months ago. They're 10th. They're only outside that relegation playoff place in goal difference alone, so maybe not surprising Tony Docherty's shaking it up a little bit. There's a debut for 20-year-old Nottingham Forest lone defender Aaron Donnelly. There's a first Dundee start for French midfielder Mo Salah, and there's also a recall for Lyle Cameron in Scotland under-21 cap, who we believe is going to be pushed right up top today. There's no Amadou Bakayoko, Ricky Lamy or Finn Robertson. They all dropped to the bench, so the visitors go with Trevor Carson in goal. Across the back, Jordan McGee, Antonio Portales, Joe Shaughnessy, the skipper, Aaron Donnelly and Owen Beck. The midfield, Mo Salah, Malachi Boateng and Luke McCown, and up top Zach Rudden and Lyle Cameron. On the bench, Legston's, Kerr, Tiffany, Bakayoko, Pineda, Lamy, Ashcroft, Robertson and Howley. The referee is Willie Collum and the VAR is Grant Irvin.
That's you up to speed with your team news across the 4 Premiership matches this afternoon. Lots to look forward to. 2 big ones tomorrow as well. Kilmarnock against Aberdeen on the telly, and Rangers against Hearts as well. So a good weekend in store, and we'll look back on all the week's biggest talking points next. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
The moment you hold your grandson for the first time. The moment you say goodbye to a loved one for the last time. The moment it's time to hand over the family business to your daughter. Owen Mitchell's legal and financial experts understand the complexities of life. We offer a tailored service to help you plan for the future and protect your legacy, so you can enjoy the moments that matter. Authorised and regulated by the Solicitors Regulation Authority.
Get in pole position for cheaper van insurance. With mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. See what you could save and compare your van insurance today with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Saturday afternoon with league football at 3 o'clock to look forward to. What a feeling that is. Plenty of big games around the country. We've given you team news on the 3 o'clock Premiership matches. Let's look back, as we often do at this time on a Saturday, and some of the week's biggest talking points. And I suppose on a week like this at Roger Hannah, it invariably comes from European action. How would you sum it up with 3 teams involved?
If you go through them chronologically, Gordon, I would say Celtic performed well against one of Europe's elite. They led twice. They'll probably be disappointed after Atletico went down to 10 men. They just couldn't raise themselves to get a winner. They're still in the group. I think it'll be between them and Lazio for third place in football in Europe after Christmas. But I think that was Celtic's best European performance for a period of time. If you go then to Rangers, it's another clean sheet for Philippe Clement. They weren't great in the first half against Sparta, but they survived the onslaught, and he will be seeing things in his players that he will be learning from. I think Nicholas Raskin, I don't know whether it's a Belgian thing, he seems to have shown a little bit more under Clement. Abdallah Sima played in a different role the other night, but again is improving. And you just wonder if tomorrow will be the day for Danilo to come back into the Rangers team. And as for Aberdeen, robbed by an outrageous VAR penalty decision that never was. But I think Barry Robson, a bit like Brendan Rodgers, can take some positives. Majowski scoring goals. Connor Barron I thought was excellent the other night. And had it not been for some dreadful officiating, they would have got something against a decent PAOK team.
Mr. VAR, Fraser Wishart, should it make us feel better or worse, the realisation that officials and VAR all across the world are getting this stuff wrong?
Yeah, it's not helping, is it? Has it made the game a better spectacle? I don't know. Remember, when we say VAR, it's the referees that are getting it wrong. So they're still making mistakes, and lots of them, and big mistakes. So yeah, it's really hard for Aberdeen to take because they played so well in the second half, particularly start of the second half, got to 2 up, and that penalty would have made it 3-1, and they'd have probably wrapped up the points, as Roger says, against a good PAOK team who beat Hearts comfortably, you know. So really, really disappointing for Aberdeen, because if they'd won that game, they'd get a wee chance of maybe getting that second place, but I think that's probably gone now. But we still need points. Gordon, I was looking up this morning, our coefficient as a nation is dropping like a stone, you know, and in 2 years' time, it's looking like we might not have an automatic Champions League place, may not even have a second Champions League place. It may be back to 4 teams in Europe. So even though there's nothing to play for Aberdeen, possibly, we certainly need results from all our teams to try and get ourselves back up, because we're now below Israel, and that's a wee bit worrying in terms of where we're going as a nation. Yeah,
starting with the first one, David Friel, where does that sort of first 45-minute performance, or overall, where does that rank in terms of what Celtic have done in Europe recently? Because it has been a tough time. They've not got many results to show at all. What about the performance level?
Yeah, for me, Gordon, that was as good as I've seen. I'm trying to think back to maybe Man City under Brendan Rodgers at home. I know that was a draw as well, but to me it was like watching Celtic when they were formidable at home in Europe. You know, you think back to those Champions League nights, Martin O'Neill, Gordon Strachan, Neil Lennon, Brendan Rodgers as well. I know Ange Postecoglou's team last season got a lot of plaudits for the way they played, but I felt watching Celtic in the first half of the night there was more structure to it. It was, you know, it was electric going forward, but there was also a solidity about them. Obviously Atletico Madrid picked him off once in the first half and then in the second half as well, but I just felt it was a really, really good performance. And as Roger's saying, you know, when Rodrigo De Paul does get sent off, you think, can Celtic go again? But I think psychologically getting that point will help Celtic just go over that little, you know, hump in terms of after what happened with Lazio. I think if they come out of that game with nothing to show at all, then, you know, it's a long, long way back in terms psychologically. So I think it's going to be really, really hard to get third place even. You know, Celtic are probably going to have to beat Lazio and Feyenoord at home to have any chance. But, you know, I do think it was a step forward in the right direction. That's as good as I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think on that, Roger Hanna? Is it a feel-good outcome? Is it, you know, encouraging going forward, or has much of the damage been done for Celtic in that group?
Oh, listen, we knew damage had been done before they played Atletico on Wednesday night with those 2 defeats. You know, you wonder at the end of the group in December time, Gordon, whether it will all look back, and that late goal by Pedro for Lazio was a crucial turning point in the group. But I think Celtic in a draw in isolation, a 2-2 draw at home to an Atletico Madrid side that they have Alvaro Morata and Antoine Griezmann up top, it's not a bad result. It wasn't a bad performance. I think, you know, Brendan looked disappointed actually in his post-match interviews that Celtic hadn't won the game, and you know, you can understand that, finishing against 10 men, but I think if you look back in it now, I don't think it's a bad result, and I think it is a result and a point that keeps Celtic in the shake-up in this group.
Yeah, I think Celtic's 2-2 draw, respectable. Rangers' goalless draw in Prague, respectable. Aberdeen's 3-2 defeat, ridiculous. I'll answer Fraser's question. In my estimation, VAR has not improved football as a spectacle. It has made it significantly worse, and that was a human error followed by a technological error, and it's simply not good enough, because at the end of the day it could cost Aberdeen dearly. So I feel sorry for them. I think Celtic are entitled to be very proud of the way they played against Atletico. And Rangers, again under Clement, they might not look pretty, but that was an exercise in getting a job done, and they did it.
David Friel, if we've done the positive bit from Celtic, but you're looking at, you know, what's next and how you build on that, is there a concern about attacking options, you know, depth in certain areas? You know, the fact that James Forrest sort of comes on but O doesn't, you know, if there is such an intense physical effort put in, is the supporting cast there on nights like that?
Yeah, I think, listen, before the game, if you'd asked me, does Brendan Rodgers really fancy O, I'd have said no. After that game, he definitely clearly doesn't fancy him at that level. Look, James Forrest has had a decorated career, you know, he's produced big moments in Europe for Celtic, but to see him come on and play that attacking role was a bit of an eye-opener. You know, I was surprised Celtic didn't sign a striker in the summer. I think they 100% will sign a striker in January. I just feel Kyogo needs someone just to share the burden with him, Gordon, and nights like that, when Kyogo and Dyson made ran themselves into the ground, Celtic, you know, you need to have something better coming off the bench, or someone Brendan Rodgers trusts, and it clearly isn't O. James Forrest did okay when he came on, but you know, I think the depth in the Celtic squad at that level, I think that you could see just maybe lacking a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose, Mark Wilson, you look at Celtic and Brendan Rodgers coming in, trying to piece it all together. Even look at today as an example. Lager Bielka's not anywhere in that squad. You know, there's clearly a difficult scenario where Brendan Rodgers comes in and maybe some players surprised him, like Liam Scales.
Yeah.
Maybe other players, you know, were sort of signed, or the signings were in the pipeline before he sort of got there. I think it's Kwon. We've not really seen any of him in matchday squads. Don't even think Holmes in the matchday squad today, unless I've picked that up wrong.
Well, I think 10 games into the season, 3 Champions League games, you're getting a fair idea of who the main cast is and who the supporting cast is, and who's going to just get bits and pieces. There's no doubt the other night highlights the lack of depth in the front area for Celtic. And I know people were saying, well, Bernardo may have changed things if he comes on later on in the game, had Hatate not been withdrawn so early. But the main focus is the front man, and David's entirely right. Kyogo, even if Kyogo goes off the boil, who's going to come in and replace him? I know, Daz, you say you're a fan of O, but I think time is now getting on that we're seeing that Brendan Rodgers, a guy that sees him every day in training, isn't quite as convinced that he can come in and lead the line. So that is a worry. I think that's an area that Brendan Rodgers would have earmarked right away for movement in January. I know we're a wee bit away, but it's a position that has to be addressed.
I've always believed, Mark, that Brendan Rodgers was handed a group of players. I don't believe he had much to do with the process involved in bringing so many players to Celtic in the summertime transfer window. And I think by his actions now, you can tell his assessment of those players. I don't think O has any future at Celtic. Paulo Bernardo, he clearly trusts the manager, and that's why he's in today.
As for Rangers, if we skip it on a bit, Fraser Wishart, does that just simply go down as a good point where you take the positives and acknowledge the room for improvement?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's more than one way to get points and to win a game. You look at Celtic, here's what you're all talking about, who played so well, terrific game, they played really well themselves, they get 1 point. Rangers, up backs against the wall, didn't play well at all in an attacking sense, but defended well, and the formation seemed to work to an extent. I wasn't sure about Sima as a kind of left wing back. I think he was just kind of thrown in there, but the 3 centre backs thought Davis was terrific coming in after being dropped, sort of great attitude, and made 1 or 2 really telling interceptions. So it was one of these nights where I think even after half an hour everybody's looking at it thinking this is one of these nights, grind out a result, and when they've lost in Aris and Cyprus, to get that point has put them right back in the mix for qualification for second place, and that's where I think Rangers should be. They should be in the top 2 given their budgets against the rest of the teams in the group. So yeah, good result. But Sparta were really good. They're a really good team, some real pace in their team as well, so they'll be a danger at Ibrox. So Rangers have to be very careful, but a win at home against Sparta, and Rangers are almost there. But a terrific backs to the wall performance. Need to do better with the ball.
Yeah, and personnel's an interesting topic at Rangers as well, Roger Hanna, because you've got players that are starting to impress under the new manager. I think clearly there are some that still are not, and are a bit of a concern for some fans. The injury picture doesn't seem to be clearing up the way Philippe Clement would like it to either.
Yeah, injuries are a problem. He referenced that again yesterday, but telling everyone Kamar Roof's going to miss a period of time. Tom Lawrence still isn't ready to come back, neither's Rabbi Matondo. And I just wonder, Gordon, he was sort of forced into that back 3 in Prague on Thursday evening. I wonder if he might persevere with it. Ben Davies did do well, as Fraser said, and it was another clean sheet. And I don't expect Abdallah Sima to be left wing back. You would think Ridvan Yilmaz would come back in to the side tomorrow against Hearts. He's not in the European squad for reasons that no one can adequately explain. I wonder if he might have a look at this back 3 with Yilmaz and Tavernier as wing backs, get Danilo back in as a second striker, perhaps even alongside a Sima or alongside a Dessers, and just have a look at that going forward, because it was an interesting formation. A lot of Rangers fans have spoken about this in the past. Could he go, or could Michael Beale have gone to a 3 more regularly? And it'll be interesting to see how Clement takes this team forward. He's had a couple of decent results.
Yeah, I thought it was a terrific battling performance from Rangers. The change of the shape, didn't have a lot of time to work in it. I know what Roger's saying. I think it looks strong if you get the natural wing back down there, Yilmaz, Barisic for instance, that are very comfortable. I thought it took a lot away from Sima, who's been excellent lately, but they grew into the game, and there was a spell in the game I thought they're going to clinch it, they're going to grab 3 points here. But clean sheet, delighted with that. The only thing I'll say about, will he look at this back 3 now? If you're playing domestic football and you're playing at Ibrox, there's not many teams come and play 2 up top, so you'd have 1 marking, you would have 3 marking 1. You would need to then encourage those 2 right and left centre backs. They have to go and be really positive and go and play in the middle of the park at times.
I did say this part of the show on a Saturday. Anyone who's ever heard it knows it can be a bit of a whistle-stop tour of some of the week's biggest talking points before we focus back on the action this afternoon. With your newspaper hat on, Roger Hanna, I know you're interested in the controversial things people say. What did you make of the whole Graham Souness and Frank Lampard edged it for me business during the week.
I thought it was all rather odd, particularly if Graham is going to come back into the football club in any sort of ambassadorial or advisory role, and that's still to be confirmed by the club as well, I have to say. I don't see where anyone benefits from Graham Souness's revelation through the week that he wanted Frank Lampard rather than Philippe Clement. It doesn't benefit Philippe Clement, who was quite prickly when asked about it yesterday morning. I don't think it benefits the Rangers board, who ultimately ignored their advisor's advice and went with Philippe Clement ahead of Frank Lampard. And I'm not sure it does Graham any favours either if he's going to come in to a role at the club and work with James Bisgrove and John Bennett, the people who didn't appoint Frank Lampard.
Well, this is what you get when you have Graham Souness on board, because Graham is outspoken, always has been, always will be. He has a media platform as well as what he has to offer the football club, and so I think he is just expressing his opinion, and will be surprised that anyone is surprised at him expressing his opinion. But I agree with Roger. How this benefits anyone, I do not know.
Well, we will park it all there for now, because we've got enough on our plate this afternoon. 4 big Premiership games, and we'll go back round the grounds next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson, Gordon Dalziel, all in the studio, looking forward to a busy Saturday in the Scottish Premiership and beyond. Let's hear from Brendan Rodgers ahead of Celtic's trip to Easter Road.
Yeah, I really like what Nick's trying to do. Obviously, only in the door, looking to play an offensive game, an offensive philosophy. Probably lots of people telling them that's not the way to work and it's not the way to do, but I've been through that many years ago in my early stages of management. So I really like that they're trying to build the game from behind, work their way through the lines with speed, with quality, looking to play an attacking game. So yeah, it's the traditions of Hibs as a club. They've always been a club that I've ever known that have always played good football. You know, going back to the managers that have been there before, and he's coming in and looking to implement his ideas into the club and the team as well. So yeah, they've had some really good performances, so tough game for us.
And the man he's talking about, Nick Montgomery.
The league table shows you they're the best team in the league right now, and they are a fantastic team. Brendan's done a great job with them since taking over, and yeah, you know, it's always about us. Obviously, you know, we give full respect to the opposition, and yeah, we need to defend better as a team. You know, people talk about a 4-2-4. It's not a 4-2-4. It's a 4-4-2. So if we defend properly in a 4-4-2, you know, and we have 4 midfielders defending, and we switch on quickly in their moments of transition, then we can defend as a team really well. If we don't, and we don't switch on quickly, you know, against top teams, they will punish you.
Motherwell against Ross County is a fascinating one, Fraser, because it feels like, and I know your esteemed colleague Gordon Dalziel's got his finger on the pulse with all the Motherwell fans. They're feeling pretty good about the start to the season. Then come along, 3 defeats in a row, but 3 good performances, and 2 of them against Glasgow's big 2, so you can take that in the chin. Then you lose again against Livingston. It's 4 in a row, but okay, maybe these things can happen. If that goes to 5 in a row, tipped over the edge by a home game against Ross County, that puts an entirely different complexion on the start to the season, doesn't it?
Yeah, you get these games where you think it's an important one. I was at Kilmarnock against Livy last week, and you felt it was an important one for Derek McInnes to get the win after their good start. You know, and listening to the guys going round the grounds as well, talking about Dundee, talking about Ross County and Motherwell here at Firth Park. You know, nobody seems to be winning in that kind of middle to bottom of the table. So a couple of wins can take you up. But if you lose a couple of games, another couple for Motherwell, for example, and they start to sit down in 9th or 10th after that really good start, then of course the pressure begins to build, and it's purely about scoring goals, I think, because I saw them in the first game of this four game run of defeats against St Mirren here, and they played so well. They should have won out the park, but they lost 1-0, and it was just scoring the goals. And you look at their strike force. Theo Bair today's playing, he's scored 1 goal this season. All his shots, his first start, but he hasn't scored. In the games I've seen him, he hasn't really threatened the goals as well. Conor Wilkes's got a couple, Obika's got a couple where they were in the pre-season games and the League Cups as well. So it's scoring the goals. They've been relying on Slattery and Spittle from midfield to top scorers at 3. So I think that's why he's gone with a slight change of formation, going with 2 up front. and try to get Spittle and Slavic coming from slightly deeper rather than being in support of the striker. But as you say, if they lose today, they're home to Ross County, you know, and Malky knows how to get a result. He knows how to get his team organised as well. So if they lose here, then I think the alarm bells will start to ring and the fans will start to be asking questions, saying what's happening.
Here is Stuart Kettlewell.
We would say that we've been so competitive against everybody we've played against at home. We've had a real good record up into the last couple of away games as well. But it's going to be a keenly contested game. It's going to be two teams that are in a similar position in the league, similar number of points, but with home advantage, and with the fact that we do feel as if we've been playing well, that we feel we give ourselves a chance, and hopefully we can get 3 points and try and make it a real worthwhile day for the football club.
Yeah, going to be an interesting one, that St Mirren against St Johnstone. Again, it's got that feel, David, although it's a long old season, if St Mirren are serious about this being one of those really good campaigns and one where they're fighting at the top, you probably need to, without wording this disrespectfully, get more points off St Johnstone than the couple that Stephen Robinson mentioned they got last season.
Yeah, I think he was trying to say that in a kind of respectful way himself yesterday, Gordon. He just has to. If St Mirren he can go 7 points clear of Hearts today, put it that way, after 9 games. That would, and boom, played the same amount of games, so it's a huge incentive. As I said, they can go level in points with Rangers as well. But these are the games they just need to win. You need to knock them off. They're a better team than St Johnstone in every single department. St Mirren should be winning this game comfortably today. I spoke earlier about how much St Johnstone have toiled. I don't really see that changing. I think St Johnstone are doomed already. Stephen McLean's trying everything, so from St Mirren's perspective, they just need to go and get this win. Obviously they were hurt the last time out against Rangers in terms of Ryan Strain's red card, but this is a chance to really bounce back. They've waited 3 weeks, but this is a chance for them today.
See that Hugh Keevins, he's changed since he came on this show. He used to be a bit more measured than that. He's been listening to you too much. 28th of October, he's got St Johnstone doomed already. A grand total of 4 points behind Ross County.
I approve wholeheartedly. He has learned well, and I look forward to seeing St Johnstone in the Championship next season. They'll be replaced by Dundee United, and we'll see how they do then.
I mean, that said, you can make a lot of these things at this stage of the season when there's a small sample. David Friel, it's a whole 3 games without a win now for St Mirren. I know they were the Rangers won, understandable, down to 10 men, kind of game over at that point. Draw with Kilmarnock before it, and I know they were annoyed to get knocked out of the cup in that 6-goal thriller at Easter Road towards the end of last month.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think Stephen Robinson will be panicking about that, because as I said, he's built a good squad. He's got a system that they all know. He's obviously made a couple of tweaks today, and Ryan Strain's a big player for St Mirren, but Ryan Flynn will do a good job coming in. But I don't think there'll be any panicking. I think he'll just see this as a chance to get back to winning ways, and I think he'll look at that St Johnstone team, and I don't want to dwell on a point, but I just don't really see where the goals are coming from. I mean, as I said earlier on, Nicky Clark hasn't played since February. He's straight in. He hasn't actually scored since last November. Now I just wonder whether Stephen McLean's believing in fate a wee bit, because his last goal was actually last November against St Mirren here, a 90th minute overhead kick equaliser in a 2-2 draw, so maybe that's why he's in. But Stevie May with the hairdo is on the bench. Look, Jeff on the bench, Chris Kane on the bench as well, but I just don't see where St Johnstone are going to score today, and I think this will be a St Mirren win.
Is Stevie May's trim the most famous haircut in recent Scottish football history? I'm trying to think of any others.
No.
At what stage did Henrik Larsson ditch the dreads?
Yeah.
Not comparing Stevie May to Henrik Larsson before anyone gets upset.
Henrik looked better for shaving his head, and so does Stevie May. So he will be like a bullet when he comes
I'm sure Stevie May's sitting in the dugout just now thinking, oh, fantastic, they'll give me a round of applause. He's got hair now like Fraser Wisher, and he still can't get a game. What chance he got?
Like Fraser.
Like Fraser.
Let's go back to Livy Dundee. Roger Hanna, if St Johnstone are indeed doomed, according to your colleague David Friel, that would be good news for Livy and Dundee, who definitely would fall into that category of first priority stay up, and they both absolutely look like they're well on track to do that.
Yeah, that strange noise you can hear, Gordon. That's a huge sigh of relief from Tony Docherty and David Martindale, knowing that they cannot now be relegated, because David Friel says St Johnstone are going down. So I'm expecting them to both come out, let the handbrake off, and we'll have a terrific game of football here at Tony Macaroni this afternoon. I'm intrigued. Livingston have got a decent home record, as we said earlier on, and David Martindale, I would imagine, would be very determined not to have a repeat of the rather insipid display, un-Livy-like display down at Rugby Park last week. he's got plenty of attacking options in there. You know, Anderson and Newbley tends to be his go-to front two, but adding Stephen Bradley in that number 10 role, he's got Dan Mackay, who's a natural attacker, in the right wing-back role as well, so we could see them going forward today, and I'm intrigued to see them. The only time I've seen them since they came up, Gordon, for Super Scoreboard was when they lost 3-0 at Celtic Park, and I actually thought they performed well, particularly in the first half there, 0-0 at the break, very well organised by Tony Docherty, and I'll be interested to see them today. They've made changes from the Ross County draw in midweek. They haven't scored a goal since the 2nd of September. One game they've scored a goal in since the 2nd of September. That's 2 months ago. So he needs to sort of shake it up. Lyle Cameron's back in the team, and I'll be interested to see the two lads who make their first starts. Aaron Donnelly, very highly rated, Northern Ireland under 21 cap, up on loan from Nottingham Forest, and Mohamed Salah in the middle of the park, along with Malachi Boateng and Luke McCowan, who I think is going to be an important player for Dundee this season.
Kick off across the country and back to Easter Road next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Kick-off's fast approaching. Let's go back to Easter Road and build up to Hibs against Celtic.
Yeah, the teams are making their way out the tunnel at the moment. Hibs in their traditional green home kit, Celtic in all black today, and there's normally no lack of drama and entertainment when these two meet here, so hopefully it's more of the same today. I'll give you a run through of the starting lineups again. David Marshall in goal for Hibs, the back four, Lewis Miller, Rocky Bashiri, Will Fish and Jordan Abita. The midfield four, Martin Boyle, Jimmy Jego, Joe Newell and Jair Tavares, Dylan Venter and Ellie Ewan up top. For Celtic, Joe Hart in goal, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Liam Scales and Greg Taylor is the back four. The midfield three, Callum McGregor, Matt O'Reilly and Paulo Bernardo, who gets the nod after Rio Hatate's injury. And up top it's Dyson Maida and Lewis Palmer either side of Kyogo. And you look back to that midweek performance for Celtic, they'll certainly feel if they put in a similar performance today that they'll get all 3 points, but Hibs will maybe feel that they've got a point to prove today after that 4-0 defeat to Rangers last weekend, and just the way they played in it. They looked poor at the back, they were exposed time and time again, so the likes of Kyogo and Lewis Palmer and Matt O'Reilly, they'll feel that if they're on it today, they'll fancy their chances of causing damage to this Hibs team. Lots of talk about ticket allocations as well last weekend when it came to Tynecastle. Celtic do have a big support over to my right behind the goal. They've got the full stand and plenty of Hibs supporters in here as well across the other three stands. But I mentioned them earlier on, Paulo Bernardo, what a big day for him. He's of course the player that gets the nod with Rio Hatate being out injured. Just 25 minutes of Premiership action Paulo Bernardo has played since he came in the summer, so he'll really be hoping that he can go out there, show Brendan Rodgers what he can do, show the supporters what he can do. And if it is going to be a significant injury for Rio Hatate, it looks as if it will be a few weeks, and there are big games coming up that he will desperate to make his mark today and hopefully be involved in them in the future. There is that change for Hibs today as well. Jair Tavares is in for Adam Lafondra. You just wonder whether that's more to do with getting that pace up top. Ellie Ewan probably playing through the middle and Jair Tavares out wide. Interested to see how it goes. Kick-off it is now underway here between Hibs and Celtic.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Flu season has arrived. Make sure you're protected this winter.
The highlight of my Saturday is finding out from you three duds how you think the games are going to go, because invariably I know you will be wrong. So what are you giving me?
I am giving you the after effect of Europe will catch up on Celtic and they will draw. Wow. They will draw with Hibs at Easter Road. Motherwell will end their 4-game losing run by beating Ross County. St Mirren will beat the already relegated St Johnstone, and Dundee to win away at Wobbly Livy.
Gordon, here's what I'm giving you. You're not going to like it. Celtic will beat Hibs.
Doesn't bother me.
Ross County,
right,
I think will beat Motherwell. I think Ross County have got a lot up front. I think they'll beat Motherwell today. St Mirren will beat St Johnstone.
Won 4 out of the last 5 against Ross County, and you're tipping Ross County.
You're interrupting my.
Sorry,
my.
You're slow.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
trying to help
and
you here.
Livy and Dundee will be a draw.
Celtic, Motherwell won 4 out of the last 5. 1 was a draw. St Mirren, St Johnstone, 4 out of the last 7 have been draws, so I'm going to draw.
Oh, this guy's done his research today. Is that my new laptop of yours?
No. And I'm going with Hugh Keevins here. Dundee away win.
Wow. Actually, Martin Boyle starting up top with Dylan Venta, so it's Tavares and Yuan out wide. Quite interesting. You can obviously see the thinking behind that for Nick Montgomery.
Yeah, do you know something? I don't think we should ever criticise managers coming in and having a go. We can look at last week. You go to Ibrox, you could sit in at Ibrox with a 5 at the back and still lose 3-4 goals. You could do it at Celtic Park. I like the attacking style of Hibs. I think Hibs' biggest problem's not the attacking style. I think defensively, I think they're a shambles.
But hold on a minute, what do you like about it though? Because I looked at them at Tynecastle. Did they create lots of chances?
Yeah,
I don't think they did.
They come back for 2-0 down.
At Ibrox,
once against the defence.
Ibrox, did they create lots of chances? No.
Mark, you don't listen to what I'm saying, right?
You said you like.
You've went in as an under 18 coach and you think you're Pep Guardiola all of a sudden, right?
Well, you enlighten me.
You need to settle yourself down and take stock of what you really are. Now, I like the fact that he's prepared to not just sit with the same basic stuff. He's looked at his players and thought, this is the best shape, the best chance I've got to getting results. I'm going to go that attacking style. We'll see how they are today. It's different when you play Rangers.
So you like the fact he's just changed the shape. That's it.
What are we calling him after last night? So it was your first game in charge
of
Thistle 18s last night. They've been struggling this season. They've only won once. You turn up comfortable 3-1 win.
Miracle manager
bounce.
Miracle worker. Just summarise it as miracle worker Mark Wilson.
Are we going? Roger Hanna's thrown in the Partick Pep. I was thinking the Christen Klopp.
That's a good one. I'll take that. I'm going to get a baseball cap.
I don't think you'll be able to put it out in there what I'm thinking his nickname is.
As a tribute, I have gone into the wardrobe and brought out an old Partick Thistle scarf.
Do you know what? It's funny because this show isn't live streamed obviously at the weekend, and Hugh genuinely has had a Partick Thistle scarf on since 2 o'clock. Nobody can see it apart from us.
I'll put a few to my story on Instagram just so people can see it, because when you say an old Partick Thistle scarf,
it's old, right.
It's old. This is old school.
But how have you got a Partick Thistle scarf?
20 years ago, the club was in bother and they needed money quickly. They were in danger of going out of business.
Hugh paid 500 quid for a Partick Thistle
You bought a scarf?
So we had in Maryhill Town Hall, we had a Save Our Jags night, and I and other pressmen were invited to go along, and it was a question and answer session, and the chairman gave us all a Partick Thistle scarf to go on and wave and get the crowd going.
You kept it?
I've kept it, yeah.
David Friel wants to throw in the Maryhill Mourinho. Fraser Wishart, the Firhill Fergie.
Yeah, listen, I'll take a mix of all them.
Roger Hanna's gone the Christen Caixinha, but we've used Christen already, Roger. Sorry, keep up. We need to find a new location for the next one. Where are you kind of from? Where did you grow up?
Baillieston.
The Baillieston.
Brendan.
Oh no,
Baillieston
Brendan. I like that. I saw where you were going, Gordon. I saw what you were going to say.
Baillieston Beale. That's what we're going to be calling it. Baillieston Beale.
Well, well done on getting your first
Thank
one.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was good fun. Yeah, young boys were great.
Falkirk are 1 up on Alloa. No hanging around for the Bairns. Starting off, Alfredo Aguiman with the goal. Hugh, let's give people a fair crack at this if you're ready.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Since 2008, 7 players have scored for Celtic in the Champions League group stages or knockouts in a game which Celtic lost. Who are they? Since 2008, 7 players have scored for Celtic in the Champions League group stages or knockouts in a game which Celtic lost. Name them.
I like it. Get your answers in at Clyde SSB. We're looking for one tweet with all of the correct answers on it, and if you do it quicker than everyone else, that's how you win the first half teaser. It's a fairly simple concept. We're not asking a great deal. It's a bit of a race, so see what you can come up with. As you would expect, Celtic very much dominating the ball at Easter Road, but it's early days, about 5 minutes gone, 5-6 minutes, no real chances created there, and a similar story in all of the games. Still goalless St Mirren, St Johnstone, Motherwell County and Livingston Dundee as well.
I'm still there to work out, and I wouldn't question Andrew McLean for a second, but Brendan Rodgers back-to-back trebles in his first time as Celtic manager, one of those seasons an invincible season, and yet on 4 visits to Easter Road he didn't win any of them.
No, there was that run. I always remember one game in particular.
One game was
it was
dreadful.
There was that one, but also that was kind of peak John McGinn time, and there was a real kind of brilliant battle between him and Scott Brown in there, and they had a bit of a sticky time going there, that's for sure. So there we go. It'll be a first chance for Brendan Rodgers he's looking for his first win.
Quite a contrast to who they're up against.
Also, Hugh, worth bearing in mind the stat is skewed slightly because the invincible season Hibs were in the Championship.
Oh,
so that plays a part.
Yeah,
that's certainly a hindrance. Yes, you can't win at a place you can't visit.
Yeah,
cannot.
I mean, against Atletico Madrid midweek, masters of defending and pressing against a Hibs side that are as open as you'll see, with 2 central defenders who leak goals left, right, and centre. And on paper, that should mean it's an easy Celtic win, but I don't know if it will be today. I think they'll get over the line, but I don't think it'll be easy.
Do you think if Brendan Rodgers had complete faith in those who are on the bench, he'd have made more changes today? Is this an indication that even though Kyogo and Maeda ran themselves into the ground, they both got to play again on the Saturday because he doesn't fancy anyone else?
I wonder if we're in danger of making too much of that. I mean, teams play in Europe every single season. They then play at the weekend. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not a huge ask. The man next to you's done it. You just play again at the weekend.
It's a huge ask against Athletic Madrid, and to play the kind of football that had people on television describing it as the best 45 minutes of Champions League action that witnessed so far this season. But it's a higher intensity than just any other old Wednesday night and any other old Saturday.
I'm with you a little bit. I hear Hugh's argument loud and clear, but I'm not surprised he's went with the same starting 11. Well, apart from Hatate, obviously, Bernardo's come in there. I think it just keeps everything going, keeps it ticking over. There will be, in the next couple of weeks, of course, he will use his squad. But just now, important game away from home, I'd have kept the same team.
Yeah, Celtic doing all the attacking so far. Greenock Ranger says, we question what other Glasgow clubs' scarves does Shinjuku Shug own?
Yeah, wait to see that.
I've got a Banky scarf, yeah, of course. You've seen it?
Because it's great timing, because the Banky, it's Scottish Cup second round today as well, which I love. It's always this is where it gets edges towards getting serious with the big boys, because the Leagues 1 and 2 sides come in at this in the draw tomorrow night,
and just to satisfy the man, because we all know where he's going, they're all as transparent as can be. I do have a Celtic scarf, and I told Mark Wilson the story that I went to do Dundee.
How you received it isn't very flattering.
I'm shocked at that.
A Dundee Celtic game for SuperScoreBoard at Dens Park. Celtic scored first and then lost 5-1.
Yeah, but what he's not telling you is he's got the Celtic scarf underneath the Thistle one.
And then, to finish my story, it's your day for interrupting people, isn't it? To finish my story, we were doing our post-match summary, and I turned round, and the Celtic fans were still leaving the ground, and this guy shouted something which I'll not repeat, and threw the scarf in my face. And I said to him, "Oh, it's fine.
Just keep it.
I'll just keep it, yeah."
So Nicky Lowe put the Bankies 1-up in the first minute.
Who they playing, Gordon?
I think it's for Martin, isn't it?
For Martin.
Home or away?
Away, it's up there.
I've been there, I played there.
A couple of bad throws for Gordon.
I think so.
Yeah, I've been up there.
Good pitch.
It's not the worst. Not the worst. Good wee
He
set
always says that, doesn't he?
Not the worst.
Where's that? Up towards Inverness, just outside Inverness.
Up the M9, and oh, you go.
See, we're coming up for the anniversary of that day when Clydebank played Clyde in the Scottish Cup, put them out.
That's right, and you were there, of course, in amongst the ultras. Kyogo fouls Martin Boyle, gives him a wee hug. That's about the most notable thing that's happened inside the first 10 minutes. A bit of a chance for Ross County. Brophy was at full stretch, couldn't get it. This time it's a sitter actually as well. Baldwin headed it across the goal. Leak was there, but he couldn't get it on target. So Ross County certainly pressing at Fir Park. Shamal George looks like he might be injured for Livy. Lengthy treatment to what looks like a muscle injury for the goalkeeper. So Jack Hamilton is out warming up. That will be a big blow to Davy Martindale if that does transpire like we think it might.
Can we take 2 minutes just to say good luck to Scotland amputees today, Gordon? They've got a tournament through in Dalgety Bay. I got a wee message from she said that she used to be my PA or skivvy. I don't know what one. Right. And she was talking about her nephew Connor, who's a big part of that. He's not playing today, but we wish them all the very best.
Absolutely, we do indeed. All Ross County at Fir Park. Another couple of half chances. Shamal George limps on for now for Livy. Is that going to be the old centre half comes and takes the goal kicks?
Peter's saying that for a while, because centre halves are now usually right beside the goalkeeper, the way that the game's changed, just to tap it out. But yeah, everybody squeeze up. Centre half can usually kick it the furthest, and then the striker can just stand right on the edge of the box and wait because you can't be offside. It's a game of cat and mouse. That carry on. I'm going to take that tactic into my training next week.
So what, were you pleased with the boys last night? Did you go in? Did you shake it up? Did you manage to implement your philosophy in the first
what was your philosophy?
What is your philosophy?
Just run a bit as quick as you can go.
Make yourself look busy.
Did anybody see the Masters? This is what you should be aiming for. In 20 year time you could be here as well. Listen, my first real step into that youth side since I was at Alloa, when was that, 10 years ago I was in at Alloa, so reverting back and getting used to that side of the game, it's interesting.
Give them a big rousing team talk,
of course, you've got to.
In what sort of style, Hollywood movie type thing, or?
But I'm going to build up to that. Yeah, right. I'm just giving them a wee taste of
What formation did you play, Mark?
First half, I changed. First half, I was 4-3-3, but I wanted to see everybody playing, so I changed to 4-4-2 in the second half.
Were you preaching what you said on Thursday? Proactive managers and changing formation.
Well, we were winning, and I changed.
3-0 up, just managed the game.
I was 1-0 up at half time. I changed. So you've got to be proactive in that age. And I think they just changed themselves. I didn't even notice.
I'd love to see you delivering one of those, proper Hollywood team talks.
Al Pacino.
Yeah. Well, you might see it, because I think you follow. I think Thistleware Academy. The young girl Erin who's in doing it, she put something on Instagram, but just to warm up. But I think they're building to some social media presence. So
do you know what's funny, right?
Might
so
be
the Thistleware Academy announced your appointment, obviously on Twitter, and I retweeted it, and quite a lot of people liked the tweet. You're very popular on the show, but
thank you.
Regular users of Twitter will know. You get these bot accounts, and it'll be let's just, for instance, say the profile picture will be a female who you know is clearly not a Partick Thistle fan, and I don't mean that with any disrespect to Partick Thistle fans, but you know the type of account I mean.
Yes.
All of them just keep liking that account, liking the post for some reason. I went through and checked it.
Great.
I don't know if that's something to do with you or
it's definitely to do with me. The more of them the better.
No, but
we'll include everyone. We'll take all support.
I think if anyone's got any ideas for Mark Wilson's team talks, you can get them in.
Robert Duvall in A Shot at Glory.
You know what? I've never saw that film.
What's the most inspirational team talk you've received from a manager?
Anything
out there?
You know what? Gordon Strachan was brilliant. Seeing just ahead of the big games, the big Champions League games. Very little to do with the actual game and tactics. It was all about who you were representing, not the club, in terms of your family, who was there watching you, how much you'd put in to get to this stage, things like that. I always found inspirational. It was great.
Anything out any PowerPoint presentations, anything with props, anything left field?
No PowerPoint things weren't they a thing?
Video clips or
video clips. I'll tell you what, actually we were
Braveheart and all that nonsense.
We were going to Ibrox under Neil Lennon one time, and on the bus, actually, listen to this. Good point. We were on the bus, right? So I know, but it's a decent story. We're going to play Rangers away at Ibrox, and unknown to us, all the partners, wives and girlfriends, had been asked to report to Celtic Park that week leading up to it, without us knowing.
That'd be scary for me.
By the way, I could have 3.
Bus would have been full.
So we're on the bus coming along the M8, and the video goes on, and there's a compilation of all the season's goals. Brilliant. I can't remember the music behind it, but then it popped up.
The wives
saying good luck and this and the next thing. And you know what? I know what the next result
is. Is that a good thing?
If you've not got a good looking one, you're coming in for a bit of
it was I suppose it was. It was a wee
Did
bit
you
of
win?
surprise. No, I knew you were going to. I can't remember if we won or not.
Check the date.
I know, but that's the one and only time that's happened.
Something a bit different.
Something a bit different, and that was just coming off the Ibrox cut off on the motorway when that got played.
There you go. But I love tapping into the stories, because obviously that's the side of it us mere mortals will never see. I'm sure it's Andy Halliday in the show told the one with Pedro Caixinha, and then it's, you know, the movie 300. Gerard Butler, and it's like the Persian Empire sort of thing. So the camera pans round, looking over, and then it just turns into Pataudry. They're going to play Aberdeen.
No way. Save it for a bigger game than I know that's a big game, but a bigger game than that. That takes a lot of work to turn the Persian army into Pataudry.
Anyway, Joe Newell's down injured. Looks kind of rather innocuous, so you're getting a bit of treatment there. That'll be a concern for Nick Montgomery. He is back on now though, so still goalless there, nothing much doing in it.
No goals
any
anywhere,
of the games recently, really. David Field's not happy with what he's seeing between St Mirren and St Johnstone. Thinks it's struggling to get going there, and Ross County on top, but without finding the breakthrough at Fir Park. So Hugh, maybe a good chance for you to remind us of the teaser.
Yeah. Since 2008, 7 players have scored for Celtic in the Champions League group stages or knockouts in a game which Celtic lost. Name them.
And don't forget, it's at Clyde SSB. Ideally looking for one tweet with all the correct answers on it. And I have to say, some fairly impressive guesses coming in so far. I'm not spotting a great deal wrong. I think most people are certainly on the right track, so keep them coming at Clyde SSB. Get them all down on a tweet, fire them over, and we'll see who the winner of the first half teaser is.
Big thing about Celtic this season, of course, has been terrific away form. Pataudry win, Ibrox win, Motherwell win, Livy win, Tynecastle big win. But I do stand by my point. I think Wednesday took a lot out of them, and the manager isn't keen on changes because he doesn't completely rate everyone on his bench, and I think that's why we're still goalless at Easter Road.
I think there's an argument though for Brendan Rodgers. When things have been so good in recent games, you want to keep that going, and I'm pretty sure he would have got a report from his physios, all his medical team and the players themselves about how they were feeling. If everybody says we're good to go, why would you want to change something that's produced 2 very good performances after being a pretty sticky start to the season and people thinking it wasn't clicking into full flow?
Paulo Bernardo fires wide. I think it's the first shot for either side. 18 minutes in now, a bit of a concern for Alistair Johnston. Rocky Bashiri blasts the ball square off his face. It looks like a bit of a sore one for Alistair Johnston there. And Hibs sticking by their principles from the back. The centre back split extremely wide. David Marshall gives it, but that's actually what is their undoing on this occasion, and it does just go slightly wide of the post on that occasion from Paulo Bernardo.
It's certainly the right way to play when it works through the lines and try to break the press of Celtic, but when it goes wrong you could put yourself under severe pressure and lose that first important goal, because if Hibs are going to get anything today at home, for me they will have to score the first goal. Well, no, I'll keep talking.
No, that
just letting it sink in, just making sure we've all come to terms with your cutting edge
the
prediction.
way you've analysed that.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
That was a good response.
Okay, Hugh.
It's a draw now, and it'll be a draw at time up. I've told you before.
You also tend to get it wrong every single week.
Are you just hoping one week it comes for you?
Yeah, exactly.
A wee bit like a lottery.
You got a couple.
You just put the same number. You put the same numbers on.
But then
every
you
week.
have to, because if those numbers come up and you don't have them on, you'll be furious.
Yeah,
that's why.
If you tip Celtic 4-0 today and they draw, he'll be kicking himself for wasting the opportunity.
Hugh's actually pre-recorded. He's not even here.
You just go with your gut instinct, and as I say, I'm enthusiastic. It doesn't matter if I'm wrong. I continue to be enthusiastic.
No, but you do tend to predict Celtic to drop points an awful lot for a team that rarely drops points, though. Have you noticed that?
I'm not sure that's the case this season, but I just believe that Wednesday, as I said to you last night, the programme, Celtic were breathtaking against Athletic Madrid, but it also took an awful lot out of them.
Joe Shognessy's booted one into the car park, and Roger Hanna says unfortunately they found another ball, which maybe suggests that's it.
I didn't think that one would be a classic.
You guys
today.
keep talking the game up, that's it.
Where is he, Livingston?
Yeah, he's at Livy. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be that first goal there. It really brightens things up at Livingston. I'm just want a goal. I'm looking forward to where the first goal's going to come from.
Tell you where there were 20 goals. What about Dundee United?
Oh, your former team.
Dundee United. Was it the 100th?
Yeah.
Birthday. 100th birthday, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why it was played last night?
It's the 100th anniversary of the day they became Dundee United.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
6-0 they won after winning 5-0 last week.
11-2 games.
Prior to being Dundee United, they were known as Dundee Hibernian. So last night was the 100th anniversary of Dundee United.
100.
Were you not invited to the gig, Mark?
I should have been as well, but I was busy. I would have had to have turned up if I was. I should have been there. Two Scottish Cup finals.
We're not done with the insert place name, insert famous manager. What other places can we use? Where do you train?
Peters Hill.
Oh, do you? Oh,
yeah.
We've done the Pep thing to
Peters
death,
Hill.
really.
Peters Hill.
I'm delighted to see him back in the game.
Get yourself up there.
He's a lot to offer. I've got to say, I really was impressed with him.
Right, something's coming.
No,
something's coming.
I'm
That's the
giving you
first
a bit of-
compliment you've ever gave me.
Have you, the listeners are desperate to know though, have you made his coffee today? Because this time last week you two
Half-time.
placed a charity hot drink related bet that if
That's a
Dessers
great
scored on that day, you had to make his coffee for a month, and indeed Dessers did.
I will be going to the kitchen at half time to get his tea or coffee or his lemon and orange, whatever he drinks now.
Lemon and ginger.
That was disgusting, that smell the other
See,
night.
you didn't like that, did you?
No.
Hugh, do you enjoy that? A little lemon and ginger tea?
I've never known anyone to have a drink like that since my wife was expecting her first child.
They shared a tea bag as well, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dale.
Tea bag.
Yeah, it was very strange,
First
I must
time
say.
for everything.
If there are any interesting goals to tell you about in the Scottish Cup second round, I will try and do it. It's obviously a bit difficult to keep up. There are so many games ongoing at the moment, but if there are any that are maybe local to us or noteworthy, oh my goodness, there's one that's noteworthy already. 17 minutes on the clock. High flying Lowland League side East Kilbride sweeping all before them this season, playing Trinent after 17 minutes. 3-0 Trinent.
Oh dear.
At Trinent, yeah.
What a shock that is. East Kilbride are making subs and all sorts after 20 minutes.
Oh.
Would you call
Who
it
was the manager of Trinent again? Is it not the ex-Hearts player?
No, it changed.
Oh, is it?
You were thinking Callum Elliott. No, it's actually, I think it's changed a couple of times.
They've had a couple of ex-Hibs and Hearts players as manager at Trinent.
Yeah, it's changed a couple of times in recent.
And that's in the Cup, Gordon, sorry, is it?
Yeah. So Mick Kennedy, who masterminded the real shock of last season's Cup. Darvel, he's on the wrong end.
And
so far. But those two are in the same division, so it's not a huge.
Darvel's struggling as well, do I hear? Midweek, was that a tweet that was put out by the club financially?
Yeah. So
just to show you the difference.
Right, Johnson's now gone down off the ball, and Anthony Ralston's been called over. Not really sure. He went back on. The ball can concuss you quite easily. The speed that the ball moves at. If he's now having to go off because of that, I don't really know how he's managed to come back on. But then again, I'm not a medical expert.
I've told you, Gordon, before. A very similar incident with myself at Pittodrie, where I got struck with a ball point blank in the back of the head, and I got up and I played on, and there was only maybe 10 minutes left to go in the game, and I played on, and I get in the dressing room and I sat, and I had to turn and say to Steve McManus, what was the score? What's happening here? Just blanked. Couldn't remember anything, and I get taken straight to hospital. So.
And that's the thing, and then even since the time you played, make that sound like you're an old man, but thankfully that side of things has moved on quite quickly. Now, don't take any chances now, even if they did in your day. I think Alistair Johnson may well go off. Anthony Ralston was being called over. Surely not going to continue again.
Well, you're into the duty of care territory.
Yeah,
now.
Ralston is on now for Anthony forgotten his name.
Johnson.
Ali Johnson.
A. Johnson has gone off.
Andy Johnson.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a blow for Celtic, no doubt about it.
On top of Hatate,
Yeah.
To be fair, Ralston can get in there and do a decent job against Hibs at Easter Road, surely. I know that Johnston's a big player for
Ralston.
them. Yeah, he's never let them down. So it's a sore one for Johnston, but the right decision. That's the second one.
How just we always talk about the week's biggest talking points on the show, like Rangers in Europe and Celtic in Europe and so on. I think the real big talking point this week's been your mysterious laptop.
Well, I'm taking some stick for that in the street. Let me tell you.
You heard this story?
No.
He appeared with a mysterious laptop, a foreign issue laptop. It didn't even have a UK plug. He's been a bit mysterious as to where he got it, and he asked the boss in here, no less, if he would wipe the hard drive for him, delete everything that's on it.
Well,
I've got a lot of tactical football things I want to put on it, Hugh, and I don't want them getting mixed up with anything else.
Immediately, the boss has to be aware that he could be complicit in something.
Well, Curious Creatures actually has sent you some poetry for today. He says the pundits have been hunted because their talents are unreal. Wilson poached by Thistle, he's the Firhill Michael Beale. The other hunted pundit had the police at his door. They were looking for a laptop, but that hard drive was no more.
You need to let us know what was actually on there.
Do you know something?
Why would you want it?
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah. All right,
I want to do just like everything else. Sometimes you've got to start again.
Start fresh.
Just in case anything happens to you.
Well, I'll look forward to seeing it tomorrow in all its glory.
Oh yeah,
there's another one. This will go down as a cup shock because it's one of the SPFL sides being knocked out by lower league opposition, but they are having a stinker. Elgin City are 3-0 down against Genefield Swifts.
Wow.
After 22 minutes.
The cup draw tomorrow night is going to look very interesting.
Now, who took on that job? Was that
the Swifts?
Am I going to say Barry Smith up at Elgin? No, have I got that wrong?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Barry Smith,
the old
job
Dundee
on recently, yeah.
Far cry from Aldershot. I remember going to Aldershot to spend a day with Barry to watch him.
Well, Barry was in at Brecon before I took over. He was the man I succeeded.
Wow.
Yeah.
Trees have got such careers in management. Aldershot, Brecon, Elgin.
Journeyman, I think you call that.
Matt O'Reilly's cross to the back post. It's a bit of a tame header in the end by Lewis Palma. He'll be disappointed because he's starting to show his goal scoring touch, Hugh Keevins.
Yeah. Clearly, you remember the one at Motherwell, which he didn't mean it. It was a cross and it went in, and it lifted him no end. And the goal against Atletico on Wednesday night was superb, and he is one that Brendan Rodgers undoubtedly trusts implicitly, because he's got a beautiful eye for a pass, accuracy of pass, and a terrific eye for goal.
He's got a brilliant right foot on him. Just the reverse pass for Matt O'Reilly.
We've got one of these. I don't actually use this button too often. I sometimes forget it's there.
VAR review with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's for a Motherwell penalty. Blair Spittle goes down in the box.
What's Fraser saying?
Well, he hates VAR, but he's torn here because he's a Motherwell legend, isn't he? You heard him.
Fans outside the stadium.
Pictures, autographs.
Autograph.
No penalty. Come on.
I would love to have seen that picture. I must have. Fraser's Motherwell days.
No penalty for Motherwell. They obviously started on the back foot, but they have been coming into it. Brodie Spencer hit the post with a header just a few moments ago. Hibs on the counter-attack. Ellie Ewan shot from the edge of the box, but a tame one as well, straight at Joe Hart. So we're needing some goals here.
Without doubt. That would have tipped Malky Mackay over the edge, though, to have a goal disallowed by VAR at Dundee midweek, and then to have a penalty given by VAR
what did you
against
make of that one?
I thought it was a goal.
Offside, but one of those ones where the ref has to really interpret whether Jordan White was interfering with the goalkeeper or not.
I don't think he was.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you?
I think
I'm very torn on it.
Yes, but after consideration, I think the goalkeeper catches that if Jordan White isn't there, and I think he makes him make the mistake.
My slight issue with that is, I think if you want to make a case for someone interfering with the goalkeeper, you almost always can. Do you know what I mean? As long as they're near, as long as they're like in the line and not completely away.
In the world of VAR,
it's so hard.
I just don't feel like Jordan
so
White
harsh.
gets that close to the ball.
Maybe I'm making an excuse to. I think Hugh touches on it perfectly in the last couple of times I've heard him, by saying it's almost like
we're trying to think
they're
of
trying
away.
to think away. So then I see that, and I have to analyse it again, and then I've came to the conclusion, yeah, he must have been. So,
well, I think that one is tough because ultimately, again, I know the process is frustrating, but ultimately he is in an offside position. He just is. So therefore, you're checking for that. You then know that he's in an offside position. So then you're just asked to assess is he interfering or not. It's a tricky one. Have you even seen it?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm sitting on the fence.
That doesn't sound like you've watched it. You had a big night at golf the other night, did you know?
Bath night on Wednesday for him, remember?
Wednesday night, yeah, so it was. Where were you rushing in Thursday? You had a golf lesson or something?
No, I was down at the Gleddock Hotel. I was playing golf at Gurek yesterday, so I had to have an overnight. I do that now. It's a bit far to travel.
Is it like 50 minutes away?
No, it's a wee bit. Well, maybe 55. But the traffic.
So you had to stay over in the Inverclyde area because you played golf in Gurek.
But let's get this right, Gordon. There's no way he would have stayed over anywhere unless he was getting a good deal somewhere to stay over.
Exactly.
People
Hibs
get
away with one. David Marshall passes to Callum McGregor. His shot saved, and Luis Palma doesn't catch the rebound properly. Celtic getting closer to an opener, but in more than one occasion it's Hibs who are making life difficult for themselves.
Well, 1 win in 5 tells you that's a habit that they've formed. So I'm a little surprised at Joe Hart's had one very easy save which you described for us, but I'm a little surprised that Hibs are not making more of a drive towards Celtic's goal.
Yeah, home fans are actually getting frustrated, Gordon, because I know that it's goalless, but they're giving the ball away a lot. So
yeah, listen, we're all in favour of pattern of plays and the style of football that the manager wants to play, but you've got to trust your players when they get the ball. Try and keep the ball, try and pass the ball, simple passes, don't give away cheaply, especially when you're playing against the quality of Celtic and what they've got in their locker. So I've been there, I've sat in that stadium, and when things aren't going right, the fans certainly let the players know about it.
I think it's a necessary evil. If that's the way you're wanting to play and you're putting all your eggs in one basket and you say to the players, it's on me, then it's only natural you're going to lose the ball for the first period of your management.
You just simply have to stick to it.
You have to stick to it then.
Yep.
And you know what, will get better, players will get more used to it.
Especially this, because it's dramatic when it goes wrong, but if you are working on this all the time and that's the way, you can't then say, oh no, but guys, look at Celtic are coming to town, so see everything we've worked on, going to just kick it over their heads.
Yeah. And the fans have to be patient then, because they're quick to moan when there isn't a style, and that was a moan under Lee Johnson, that they couldn't really see what his style was. But you can clearly see what this manager's style is. And he's never going to get it perfect within 4 or 5 weeks.
But I totally agree with that. I'm not going to argue with that. But do you think the style he's adapted just now actually suits the players at the back? Because
probably not.
I look at these players at the back and I think they are desperate to get rid of the ball as quick as they possibly can.
But then that's up to him to recruit in January.
Exactly. But that's why I'm saying sometimes until you get the players in that can adapt to that style, maybe you've got to adapt as a manager.
Yeah, a bit of a lack of quality in the game at Easter Road. Celtic don't have their shooting boots on, there's no cutting edge really, and the chances they've had have been gifted to them by Hibs. We have had that change though. Alistair Johnson took the ball to the face from point blank range. He's gone off and Anthony Ralston has come on. I don't expect the Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard audience to be heavily invested in Genefield Swifts against Elgin, but it's 4-0 now, just since I mentioned it. Just think when you see a lower league team doing that to an SPFL team,
quite something
in the cup.
I could cost you your job as a manager, no doubt about that.
He's just in.
Is he?
He's still going to get this out. He only came in, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
He might just be back out. Might be just month to month. But I can't believe we're standing here Saturday afternoon and we've not got a goal from anyone.
Reminders of the teaser, Hugh.
Yep. Since 2008, 7 players have scored for Celtic in the Champions League group stages or knockouts in a game which Celtic lost. Can you name them?
You can barely see any incorrect answers coming in.
Wow.
Most people are getting this almost bang on. So why not join in at Clyde SSB on Twitter? Send your answers over, and it is a race, of course, so try and do it quicker than everyone else, and we'll see who wins just before the half-time break. I would love to think we'll get some goals before then. Have we ever gone 4 games goalless into the half-time break? Oh, there we go, right on cue. Just what we needed.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
The Saints have scored, and it's the Paisley version. 1-0 from Keanu Bacchus. It's a beauty, actually. Top corner, 20 yards out. We needed a moment of quality, and we have got one in Paisley. Stephen Robinson delighted with what he's seen there from the Australian midfielder. 20 yards out, top corner. What a goal. And St Mirren lead St Johnstone by 1-0.
That might be all they need, because St Johnstone don't score anything like as regularly as they need to, and that might be game, set and match already.
I agree with you, Hugh. If you look at that table, played 8 and scored 3 goals.
Yeah.
David Friel went a bit early, but it'd be very hard to argue right now with them in the form, but taking gambles, bringing back guys like Nicky Clark's not played the squad ain't good enough. I think the manager has really got problems there.
St Johnstone actually have had a bit of pressure, but just no kind of finishing touch on there, and it's turned out to be costly. 1-0 down heading into the break.
Well,
great start St Mirren though.
Yeah, well, good for them. They're at Celtic Park midweek. They will give Celtic a game of it. Some job being done by Stephen Robinson. If they win today, they go level with Rangers, who don't play until tomorrow, of course. So he's having a great season.
I'm not surprised. I watched St Mirren train Wednesday for about 20 minutes and looked very sharp indeed.
20 minutes?
Yeah.
What would they do in that 20 minutes?
Well, I have a lot of attacking.
Where did you watch St Mirren train?
Where they trained at the
But why?
training
Where?
ground.
Like through the Fens?
Through the Fens, yeah.
Must have been playing golf.
Yeah, I was
at
on
Ralston.
So you didn't watch them train,
Yeah,
did you? You kind of saw them. You saw them through the fence,
No,
and you moved on with
I
your
stood
game of golf.
and I said to the
So you took a 20-minute break
Yeah, I
during,
says to the-
during your game of golf?
Yeah, I says to the guys behind,
Just play through.
Play through. I'm a bit interested in this sort of a tactical movement from Stephen Robinson here.
Absolute nonsense.
Yeah, it's been a great season though for Stephen Robertson, but obviously missing Ryan Strain today, who's been probably their best player so far this season. But you expected them to win that one.
Well, maybe St Johnstone could have been doing with David Witherspoon. Remember him? He's opened the scoring for Inverness against Airdrie. 37 minutes on the clock.
Big Duncan.
That'd be a surprise, that one. Airdrie playing some nice stuff this season.
Big game down at Capello today.
Yeah.
Morton down bottom of the table against small club Ayr United. That'll be a cracker. Intense stuff.
Dougie Emery really needs a result.
Oh, VAR check for a Ross County penalty, says Fraser Wishart. Didn't look even worth looking at, says Fraser. But sometimes they're the ones. Something that you didn't spot.
I was
at the
wondering
time.
about how did that?
I forgot.
How did that
A
fan
moment's passed.
know Fraser
penalty,
Wishart
no
was going to be
penalty.
at Fir Park?
What do you mean?
Is there a fan just at Fir Park with a Fraser Wishart photo hoping he's going to turn up? all the time?
Fraser probably made that up to make himself
Or Fraser
feel good.
gave the fan the photo.
It's probably
No, sometimes though they've got it's like a
scrap,
like an album or whatever.
a Panini sticker book.
Like sometimes in the car park out here after the show, we'll have the odd person will wait, find out what pundit's on. And I've noticed it's never you two, incidentally.
No.
It's funny that it's
I've never had
it's
that.
never on a Tuesday or a Thursday.
Did you actually get that?
Andy Halliday and Kenny Miller are in. It
Did
happens
he?
quite a lot, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Just no you two.
What? That's outrageous.
Really up your game.
Right, Dumbarton fans, if
Yeah.
you're out there, come along the Thursday evening.
Seriously,
I'll sign whatever
you
you
wake
like.
up in the morning, you think.
Just quickly, Ayr Morton's actually at Somerset Park.
Is it?
Just yeah, it is. But Fraser has managed to shed some light. This gentleman had actually a lot of photos from Fraser's career to sign, and no idea how he knew I was there, he says.
Imagine waking up and going, I'll nip up there early just in case he comes down that A8 a wee bit early and get Fraser.
Well, he wasn't early. He couldn't get stuck in his life. He was nearly late.
I wonder how hard it is to recognise Fraser now, because he's not aged well.
Big PFA Scotland jacket gives it away though, doesn't it?
walking into the main stand. Do you get any scrapbooks there?
Goalless at Easter Road, goalless at Fir Park, goalless at the Tony Macaroni. Keanu Bacchus, we thank you for being the only man to find the back of the net so far in the Premiership.
The Ross County VAR check
didn't come to anything yet.
Right.
Falkirk 3, Alloa 0. Call Donaldson with a screamer there, so no shortage of goals in that one. If they could lend a couple to the Premiership, that would be delightful.
Where's our big friend playing today?
Oh, the Palmerston.
Yeah.
They are playing, I looked this
Cove,
up earlier.
Cove.
Yes.
Away, is it?
Home.
Alright.
I fancy them
Don't
today.
think Cove travel well, so you've got to fancy QOS to get back-to-back wins.
Palmerston Pep. Yeah, they've not heard much from them. It must be goalless, is it? It must be. I've not seen anything.
Yeah.
Not seen anything pop up as of yet.
Are you buying into my European hangover for Celtic yet? Are you buying into it?
Hugh, it's only the first half.
Oh, you're right, Hugh.
But what's Hibs' excuse?
You predicted a
So
a
Celtic
draw.
aren't they winning at half time every week? They've got a hangover.
No.
So what's it?
I mean, I'm isolating my thoughts to what happened on Wednesday, and the carryover is that Celtic are, by general consensus of opinion, not looking like themselves.
Why do Hibs look their way?
Because
it just feels like one of those days where they're both just a bit.
Because Hibs have had 1 win in 5, and that's why they get a succession of managers, because they never really get it right.
Hibs will be looking to test Joe Hart a bit more at home, Gordon, won't they? Again, Hugh's right. Celtic haven't. It's not like Celtic are knocking down the door here either. But they've at least had a couple of moments.
I think what you need if you're Hibs is a bit of a reaction after last week at Ibrox. They were terrible. They were poor. All credit to Rangers. Rangers swept them aside. You're at home against Celtic, and if everybody's thinking the same along the same lines as Hugh, taking a lot out of them in Wednesday night's game, same team. So you're thinking, yeah, let's get the pace up here. Let's get at Celtic, but I think Hibs under a new manager will take time. I don't think that he needs to get to a January window. I think he needs to get his own players in. I like the way he's going about his business, but I don't think he's got the personnel just now.
I think you're spot on with the centre halves with Hibs.
Oh, what a save from David Marshall that is. Dies in Maida with the effort. Celtic getting closer, and David Marshall's distribution has got Hibs into a bit of bother a couple of times. Nothing wrong with the shot stopping on this occasion.
Yeah, obviously a good shot stopper, David, but I don't know if it's been a strength of his to play out from the back. And like we've seen it in the past, that managers, that's enough for managers to go out looking for a goalkeeper that fits their style. And I wonder if that's something that Nick Montgomery may look at, along with what Daz was saying about the centre halves, because Hibs centre halves are not comfortable in possession. If you're going to play that way, you need two that are.
Yeah, it was Bernardo with the initial effort that was blocked, and then Marshall had to kind of scramble across to turn away Maeda's shot. So well done from the Hibs goalkeeper on that occasion. Keeps his side in it just before the break. It would have been a brutal time to lose a goal from a Hibs perspective.
Well, he's had his problems of late, David Marshall. The Hibby in the family doesn't want him anymore. He thinks he's past it, and he is, at least today, showing the old ways, and the old ways were good enough.
How old is he, Hugh?
37.
37. Yeah, I think this is probably. I've not been greatly impressed every time I've seen David Marshall. I think there's a mistake in him just now. He's been a top quality goalkeeper. Look, he might just come on and have a better second half of the season, but so far I think he's been poor.
It's another VAR check at Fir Park.
Third time lucky.
Yeah. To see that as the 40 Fraser Wishart.
Yeah, but this was sometimes this one is for a handball, and you know what those ones can be like. Again, it looked like nothing according to Fraser, but we've said this.
Who's it for?
I think those ones are the worst for referees when they hear it's a handball.
No penalty again. So there we go. Anyway, just trying to make it a bit more interesting, I think, because other than that, we are lacking 1 minute added in Paisley. At least we've got a goal in that one, thanks to Keanu Bacchus. But it does look like the rest are heading goalless into the interval, which means, Hugh, maybe we should wrap this up.
Yeah.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Since 2008, 7 players have scored for Celtic in the Champions League group stages or knockouts in a game which Celtic lost. They are Kyogo against Lazio earlier this month, Jota, who can forget the free kick, against Real Madrid, Moussa Dembele against Paris Saint-Germain, Callum McGregor against Bayern Munich, Jordi Samaras against Barcelona, Barry Robson against Aalborg, and Jan Venagur of Hesselink against Barcelona.
Oh, well done if you got them all right. That was some effort. How did you two fare?
We got 5. We didn't get the McGregor and the Dembele one.
Poor effort from you two.
I assisted the Robson one against Aalborg.
Great level of accuracy out there on Twitter, though. Well done to Gary O'Neill, who was third fastest, Jordan McKenna in second place, and Mark O'Neill was the quickest and the winner of the first half teaser. I like the look of the Who Am I for the second half. We'll do that very soon indeed. 3 minutes added at Fir Park. We're already well into that. 1 in Paisley and half time now in Paisley. Here is David Friel.
Half time, Gordon St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 0. I'll be honest, for 36 minutes this was dire stuff, pretty forgettable, no shots on target, quite a niggly game, but then Keanu Bacchus stepped up with an absolute beauty to put St Mirren ahead. What a goal it was. St Johnstone enjoyed a fair bit of pressure. They threatened, but they were then picked off on the counter. A sweeping move ended with Greg Kilty teeing up Bacchus, and he found the top corner from around 20 yards. What a goal it was. St Johnstone will probably feel a bit hard done by, but they paid the price for a lack of a finishing touch. Really, Nicky Clark had an early free kick blocked. He also had a shot deflected wide. Dara Costello's been lively. He fired over the bar. Liam Gordon also did the same. Zach Hemming hasn't really had a save to make. Up the other end, Dimitar Mitov hasn't too much to do either, but he had no chances. Bacchus found the top corner on that quick break in 36 minutes. Half time, St Mirren in full control. St Johnstone need a big second half. They're going to get anything here. Half time, St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 0.
No other half-time whistles have gone yet. We can't be too far away though. Certainly at Fir Park I don't think we'll be far behind at Easter Road, although there was a couple of stoppages. The face knock picked up by Alistair Johnson, that's the one that saw him go off, and replaced by Anthony Ralston, and we still have no goals there. We've come close on a couple of occasions. Joe Hart hasn't had anything to do really, and up the other end David Marshall, a mixed bag. Some wayward kicking has let Celtic in, but some good shot stopping has kept them out as well. So we await the half-time whistle there. I do think the Tony Macaroni Arena or Fir Park has got a good chance of going before that, and in fact Fraser Wishart had a couple of VAR checks, so I don't know why Roger Hanna is so quiet. I thought that one would have been half-time by now, but it doesn't appear to be the case. No goals, although I suppose there was the injury, wasn't there, to Shamal George, who did carry on, so I'm not sure why that one is so far behind, but we are still playing there, nearly 10-4. Do people not know that Hugh Keevins has to get his half-time pie?
He's talking into it as we speak.
No, VAR takes up so much time now.
Well, it's half-time at Fir Park. Here's Fraser.
Goal this year, Gone Motherwell 0, Ross County 0. To be honest, not a great 45 minutes. County started pretty well. He had Motherwell on the back foot, but Motherwell came back into the game a bit. But all in all, neither goalkeeper really tested, other than that Brodie Spencer header that hit the post. The County started really well. 6 minutes, Conor Randall found himself in the box. His low-driven cross found Damon Brophy at full stretch. One touch and it was in the back of the net, 3 yards out, but the striker just couldn't get a touch on the ball. Then a minute later, a sitter missed by Ryan Leake. Jack Baldwin, his fellow centre-half, headed a deep dander cross back across the face of goal, and young Leake came in, but the centre-back didn't get good contact in the ball, and the ball ended up wide. He was only about 3 or 4 yards out and really should have scored. So all County earlier on, another couple of half chances for Baldwin and Brophy from corners. It took about 17 minutes for Motherwell to actually get going and get anywhere near Laidlaw's goal. Some nice passing. Ended up with Slattery slipping the ball into Spittle, who's crossed right across the face of goal, looking for takers, but nobody was there. Motherwell's first effort and goal came 20 minutes from left wing back Brodie Spencer got his head to a Spittle cross. It was awkward for Spencer. The ball bounced in front of him awkwardly. They get good contact in the ball and hit the post and was cleared away. Then a long ball from George Harmon put Brophy through in and goal. He was denied in the act of shooting by a brilliant Paul McGinn tackle. Then Spencer saw a right foot shot on target, was blocked by James Brown, but after that the game hit a real lull. Tempo dropped, neither side able to get any decent possession, and as we passed the half hour mark, Allardyce and Latourie were booked in quick succession for late challenges, and the half just really petered out after that, with both sides really cautious, not wanting to lose a goal before the break. The game could really do with a goal at either end to liven things up. Mark McCarthy, the happier manager, but you have to ask, I wonder how long Stuart Kettlewell will wait before bringing on young striker Mika Biere. Half-time at Fir Park, Motherwell 0, Ross County 0.
Tony Macaroni Arena, that's where the next half-time whistle's gone. Roger Hannah.
Yeah, just the same here, I'm afraid. Gordon Livingston 0, Dundee 0, a drab, dull, dismal first half at the Tony Macaroni. The early drama surrounding Livingston goalkeeper Shamal George, who needed lengthy treatment after getting down in the opening exchange. It would look like a muscle injury. The former Dundee number 1, Jack Hamilton, on the bench for Livy was warming up, but he was.
Lost Roger Hannah, he was in full flow. Let's go to Easter Road, we'll get Roger back.
Yeah, Hibs 0, Celtic 0, the half-time score. I think I maybe cursed this one by saying earlier there's always entertainment and drama when these two meet at Easter Road, because it's been a pretty poor game so far, as it seems to be across the board in the Scottish Premiership today. Hibs keep on giving the ball away as they look to play out from the back. Celtic have really lacked quality in the final third as well. The first point of interest was actually an injury. Rocky Bushiri booted the ball off the face of Alistair Johnson from really close range. He looked in some discomfort when he was down getting treatment. He tried to play on after getting that treatment, but he really shouldn't have been allowed to continue. The next time he tried to get involved in play, he ended up just sitting down. He knew he couldn't play on at that point, and Anthony Ralston came on for him. After that, the odd half chance for Celtic. Paulo Bernardo shot wide. Lewis Palmer also couldn't find the target with a header at the back post. There's been one shot on target for Hibs so far. That was a tame one from Ellie Ewan straight into the arms of Joe Hart. But Hibs have been getting themselves into trouble while he tried to pass out from the back. This time it was David Marshall passed straight to Callum McGregor. His shot was then saved by Marshall. Lewis Palmer's effort on the rebound just bounced wide. Then David Marshall made a fantastic save late in the half to keep it goalless. It was actually a really good initial tackle in the box by Will Fish to stop Paulo Bernardo getting a shot away, but then the ball broke to Dyson Maeda. Looked as if he was going to score, but David Marshall scrambled across to his left. Really good diving save to deny the Japanese winger and to keep it at 0-0. But overall, there's been a real lack of quality in this game so far. The half-time score, Hibs 0, Celtic 0.
Let's try and go back to Livy and speak to Roger Hannah.
Yeah, half-time, Livingston 0, Dundee 0. Not a great first 45 minutes here at the Tony Macaroni. Chances few. They needed lengthy treatment and a muscle injury, but did manage to carry on. Dundee hardly threatening him in the opening exchanges at all, and it took 35 minutes for there to be an effort and target. Luke McCowan, a fine solo run from the centre of the pitch, but he was crowded out by Livy defenders, and a weak shot was easily held by George. That almost kick-started Livy into action. Christian Montano slicing a shot wide from just outside the box, and then he needed treatment after coming off worse in a clash of heads with Zach Rudden. Dundee finished in the front foot. McCowan again flashing a shot high over from distance after Livy cleared a Dundee corner, but we expect much better in the second half. Hardly a goal scoring chance in the first. We want better. Livingston 0, Dundee 0.
And the half-time scores are coming up next.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time scores in the Scottish Premiership. It's Hibs 0, Celtic 0, Livingston 0, Dundee 0, Motherwell 0, Ross County 0, but St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 0. We do have the one goal in the top flight. In the Championship, Ayr United 0, Greenock Morton 0, Inverness 1, Airdrie 0, Raith Rovers 0, Dunfermline 0. In League 1, Edinburgh City 2, Annan Athletic 1, Falkirk 3, Alloa 0, Kelty Hearts 0, Stirling Albion 0, Queen of the South 0, Cove Rangers 0, and Montrose against the Accies kicks off later. I won't run you through all of the Scottish Cup second round results, but what I can tell you at the break, there are 5 League 2 sides all losing to non-league sides, so a few shocks potentially on the cards, and the second halves are coming up next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lucas Jaguar. Buy your next car or book your MOT service or repair online.
Much like you, I've got a lot to complain about. Like open-toe sandals. Who thought that was a good idea? Who wants to look at toes? Adults who drink squash. Listen, you're a fully grown person. But I just got my Sky broadband and I've got no complaints.
Once again, Sky had the lowest number of complaints made to Ofcom for fixed-line broadband. To find out more, visit ofcom.org.uk. We're happy because you're happy.
Oh, hang on though. Noisy eaters. They're annoying.
Sky. Believe in better.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lucas Land Rover. Here, wherever and whenever you need them. Visit them in store or online. Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half time still across the country. The second halves will be resuming round about now, though, you have to say. Let's go back to Easter Road. Andrew McLean, is there a level of frustration from either fan base after that first half?
Yeah, I think mostly the frustration is coming from the home fans because, Nick Montgomery wants to play this style where, it starts with the goalkeeper, David Marshall. You have the centre-back splitting wide. They want to play out from the back. They want to try and play through Celtic. It's just not been working at all, though, time and time again. They're losing the ball, and there are moans and groans around the stadium that are building every single time it happens. Then even the odd occasion when they've tried to hit Celtic on the counter-attack as well, those have really come to nothing as well. Only one shot on target for them so far. It was on a breakaway. Ellie Ewan cut in. It was a really tame shot straight at Joe Hart, but it's been poor from Celtic as well, but in another sense, because Hibs have given them a few opportunities, but there's been no quality in the final third at all from Celtic today. Lewis Palma hasn't quite been on it. You saw at times what he could do midweek. He's got a really good right foot, but there's been a couple of shots and a couple of maybe ambitious passes that he's tried that haven't made it to their destination, and there maybe is a few sort of moans and groans, but not as much from the Celtic support so far. Kyogo hasn't really been involved at all, but that's probably more to be said about the service that he's getting or not getting from the rest of the team. Matt O'Reilly's been fantastic this season, but he's not really been involved too much either, so Celtic will certainly be looking to up the pace in the second half because they've really struggled to test David Marshall too much. Yes, there was that one big chance towards the end of the half where Dyson Maeda had a really good opportunity actually, and David Marshall managed to scramble across, so they'll be hoping that is something to build on, but overall it's not been a great half for either side.
Any sign of any changes at the break?
No, it doesn't really look like it. Both teams have, I think it looks as if there's sort of full allocation of substitutes, the outfield players anyway, out there warming up, so I don't imagine there is going to be any changes. The one player that maybe looked as if he could be replaced for Hibs is Jair Tavares, because there's been a few times that when Hibs have tried to attack, his passes have been way off. He's been over-hitting them. They're trying to use that pace in behind of Martin Boyle, but Tavares has failed to find them quite a few times now. I've seen Nick Montgomery on the touchline has been really frustrated with that, so that's maybe the area that they'd look at, whether it's maybe putting Ellie Ewan out wide, Martin Boyle out wide, and then bringing on Adam Lafondra could be the move there. But yeah, certainly you think that there will need to be changes at some point for both sides if they want to inject a bit of quality, and of course Celtic have already made that one change with Anthony Ralston on for Alistair Johnson.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. From prescription deliveries to health vaccines and everything in between.
Well, Hugh Keevins, you did predict before the game Celtic would draw today. You're halfway there, which is a start.
Well, Andrew McLean has vindicated every word that I said. He's describing players, Matt O'Reilly, Kyogo, who have been outstanding this season but who do not have much to give, because Celtic were fabulous against Hearts in Edinburgh last Sunday, even better than that against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, but have now run out of steam. It's a match too far for them, and the bench is not sufficient for Brendan Rodgers to make the number of changes that he might have thought were necessary.
No changes there, but changes for various teams at the interval. Bakayoko on for Cameron for Dundee as they look to take the initiative. Kyle Turner has come on. One of your favourites, Jan Danda, has gone off. Mark Wilson.
He's one of the reasons I tipped Ross County. I thought they had a good front line. And
you want to go Motherwell now?
No, I'll stick with my decision.
So we are underway in the games across the Premiership and beyond. Hopefully there are a few more goals than we got in the first half, because that was quiet, very quiet indeed. Some really fascinating results coming in from the second round of the Scottish Cup as well, so we'll keep an eye there to see if any of the league sides get knocked out by non-league sides. It certainly looks like a few of them could well happen. You're always looking for a team to start the second half quickly.
Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And St Mirren have done just that. It's Mikel Mandron. It's a clinical finish. It's a really bad mistake though from James Brown. He won't want to see it again. Michael Mandron won't care. He picked up the finish and makes it St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 0.
Well, who among us would tip St Johnstone to get anything out of that game now? They've only scored 3 goals, as the Dazzler said, in 8 league games. So they're not going to find 3 in half a game. So they are in deep bother. They will, in all probability, go down. They are in trouble, and St Mirren are flying.
Great start to the second half. Exactly what you want. You've got to say St Mirren going forward this season. Real threat. Mandron being a decent signing to spearhead the front line. And I'm with you. You cannot see St Johnstone coming back from that. I know they've got Stevie May on the bench, and Chris Kane's on there also, but those two haven't been firing this season, so no reason to believe that they can come on and change the game.
You just wonder how they can turn the season round, because there's, at this moment in time, there's no hope for them at all. They're not scoring goals, they're leaking goals, they're not playing with any confidence, and they're not getting any wins, so it's not looking too good for the Perth side.
It is not. Let's do this though. Let's see if we can get any early winners on the second half teaser. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Alan McGregor and Chris Commons. I've been managed by Nigel Clough and Alan Johnston. During my time in Scotland, I was once named the Premiership Player of the Month, and I played at a World Cup. Who am I? Played alongside Alan McGregor and Chris Commons. Been managed by Nigel Clough and Alan Johnston. During my time in Scotland, I was once named the Premiership Player of the Month, and I played at a World Cup.
Good question, and I have to say I've been scrambling around to find out which department of football trivia Gordon Dalziel is good at, but he's good at these. He is good at the second half teaser, the Who Am I must admit. So let's see what you can come up with. Your challenge is firstly to beat Gordon Dalziel and also to beat everyone else. Take those clues in, give us your answer, put it down at Clyde SSB. If you want to see the question written down, you can do that there on Twitter as well. That's us only just underway at Easter Road actually. So for anyone thinking it's been a bit quiet, well, that's why.
Well, the Celtic fans will be expecting better of their side, but you know, they're human beings, and I think they are verging on exhaustion by the sound of it today. So Hibs will never have a better chance.
Well, you say that, but they need to actually threaten.
Yeah.
You know, the Hibs. Listen, it's nice that they want to play, but if you keep giving the ball away at the edge of your 18-yard box, if you're coming up against even a Celtic side who are a bit leggy, you're eventually going to get punished. So they need to create something. The home fans will be rightly telling them that, I think. And if they keep making mistakes, I believe Celtic will get the breakthrough.
Well, they certainly look the most likely, albeit in a less than convincing or less than what we got here, a dangerous pass from Miller, but Ewan's touch is too heavy to get shot away, so it's better territory from Hibs, but still nothing really in terms of causing trouble. Have you got an answer for that question, Gordon?
No,
You're
I'm
usually straight out the blocks on it.
It's quite difficult. I'm trying to break it all down into my segments here.
Right, he's got tactics.
Yeah, I've got tactics
for the Who Am I. Good on you.
Thank you. It's not working, but I've got good tactics.
What about your how did you feel on Wednesday night? Because obviously Wednesday night's Bath night, isn't it?
Yeah.
Always. So I know you'll always have us on the podcast. You probably get the TV on.
No, listen, you 6 o'clock. I have the hot water just bing,
What did you make of your?
And I go with the toe. Listen to whoever's on.
What did you make of your esteemed colleague there, making his big TV debut? Did you see him? He was in the Sky Sports News studio.
How'd you like that?
Keeping the nation informed about Celtic against Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, I've got to say,
some good feedback from London.
The cream jacket on. I thought you were going for a night out. You were sitting like your two cheeks were rubbed together with the face, and the big hair up. Obviously, get done. Makeup. Did you get the makeup on?
No, that's my normal face.
Yeah, not very good.
Well, Halloween week though, isn't it?
He wasn't very good, was he?
What colour would we describe the jacket as?
Cream. I think it's a stone colour jacket.
Television choice.
You know what? I had a black jacket and I had a stone colour jacket, and Leanne wasn't in when I left, so I would usually say what looks alright, but she wasn't in, so I chose myself. I thought it went down nicely against the blue black backdrop.
Because we put a picture on Twitter, or I put one on my Instagram. Sorry, we put some on Twitter. You were getting Rick Astley.
Well,
shouts.
you know yourself, Gordon, when you're in that position in front of the camera and you're trying to concentrate, but your phone's maybe just to the left of you.
I was going to phone you.
Instantly, you see it lighting up, and you think, I wonder what's happened.
Yeah.
And you see you have put on something.
I saw someone did say Rick Astley. I like that.
I'll take Rick Astley all day long.
Do you know what my favourite shout was though? Fran Alonso. People were saying it like Fran Alonso with the white jacket and the black jumper.
Aye. Well,
I thought it was a wee bit too much just for a Wednesday night for Sky Sports.
That was nice, wasn't it? It was lovely. It was a nice look, smart but casual, I was told.
Liam Scales goes into the book, a heavy challenge on Lewis Miller. Another VAR check for a Motherwell penalty. No penalty. Do you not think you should get given one? You know, after it's like 3 checks, like in boxing, one should be knocked down so many times it's game over.
But it just tells me that there's confusion, wholesale confusion. That's the 4th VAR check of that particular game.
Listen, it sounds chaotic, but at the same time,
it's what it's here for.
It's there to be checked, and if they're not penalties, they're not penalties. Zach Rudden goes round the goalkeeper for Dundee, but the shot is wide of the post, so we'll get a lively-ish start to the second halves, but still nothing really in terms of further goal scoring action. Just that St Mirren goal. They've started the second half. It's the dream, isn't it? You're 1-0 up, go and kill that game, Hugh, because some miracles happen, but it's very unlikely that St Johnstone come back from this point.
If there is a third goal in the match, it will be for St Mirren, not for St Johnstone. They're in trouble. I don't know how they get out of the trouble. I thought that the decision to play Nicky Clark after a 10-month absence was like a gambler chasing his losses. It's Stephen McLean, the manager, saying, I've got nothing else for it, I'll just need to throw him in, see if he can get me a goal, and it's not working.
Can't disagree with that, but all credit to St Mirren. I think everybody fancied them today at home, sitting there third in the league, having a terrific season, good players, defensively not bad as well, a lot of talent in that team, well organised, good manager, and the Paisley guys are certainly enjoying their football.
I was just reading the responses to the tweet that we put up about you looking like Rick Astley on Sky.
Rick.
He
was good at Glastonbury.
Hoop 67 says Astley has better knowledge of Scottish football.
He might not be wrong.
Raymond Maxwell saying the exact same thing. There's a lot given it the old sort of never going to give you up type pun.
Yeah,
good
song.
Shame, Lone Celt. Shame he can't say never going to let you down though.
Why have I let him down?
I don't know. He's a Celtic fan.
Oh, right, okay.
Rick Ghastly says Fraser Wisher. I like it.
Ghastly.
Halloween.
Don't have a go at me just because Daz has a go at you.
I have nothing to do with this. I'm just glad that you two are out.
Have you still not got the second half teaser yet?
No,
that's not like you.
No.
You haven't got any guesses you'd like to show me just to see?
No, I'm struggling a wee bit here.
I had a guess, but Hugh shot it down.
Let me see.
Yeah,
show it to me.
I had scrubbed it. No, I went down.
Well, I can't see it because you've scrubbed it out.
I've scrubbed it out.
Chris Boyd.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not Chris Boyd.
Yeah. I thought the Nottingham Forest, and sure he's played with Chris Commons in it as well. But anyway.
Yeah, listen.
That was a good effort.
Big chance for Hibs. Good deep cross by Abita. Finds Martin Boyle, but he stretched it. Can only direct it over the bar from about 8 yards. We do have a goal elsewhere though.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it's to Dundee. Bakayoko opens the scoring. Livy lost the ball in midfield. Davy Martindale will not like that. Rudden to McCowan to Bakayoko into the back of the net. And it's Livy 0, Dundee 1.
Well, they're proving to be a team hard to beat, Dundee. It was the guy saying, who's there again? Roger was saying the last one was against Hearts at Dens Park quite a while ago, but only I think one defeat in that, the rest being draws. So Tony Dock's got them playing good stuff.
Well, I think Hugh and I predicted that.
Yes,
Hugh, did we?
Yeah, I'm
nearing it coming.
I'm nearing the 4 out of 4 ACCA.
Wow.
I just need a Motherwell goal and I'm there.
Stranger things have happened. Hugh Keevins getting the ACCA all up, but it certainly is heading that way. Davy Martindale won't be impressed. Gordon giving the ball away in a crucial area.
Yeah, and they're always difficult to beat at home. But I just had a sneaky this afternoon that Dundee could go there and pick up the 3 points. They had a game in midweek against Ross County, so they were getting into it a bit sharp. So I'm not surprised with that, but don't write off Livingston. How many times have we done that in the show, and they always come back to bite us? So still plenty of football to be played.
See, there's not much I can sympathise or relate to when it comes to professional footballers, but Dalziel and Maeda, it looks like one of his contact lenses has come out.
Oh, well,
I can definitely relate to that.
How does that happen during a game?
Do you mean just any sort of knocking the head or rub your eye or whatever? I
find that fascinating. The old contact lenses.
Well, can I just be clear with you? It's not fascinating in any way.
I mean,
well, you always carry spares, or do you?
It's funny that because obviously I get while you're playing.
No, you just now. Have you got contacts in just now?
Yes. What are you not getting about?
Because I wouldn't like to put my finger in my eye.
Yeah, but everybody says that, and you get used to it.
Yeah, don't put your finger in your eye.
No,
you get used to it.
Yeah, and you have to take them out.
Well, this is a good point, right? Because it depends. Obviously, some people wear the dailies, some the monthlies, and I would never need to. I wear monthlies, would never need to carry extras. But I do wonder if I was a professional footballer, would I?
I'll never forget the day that I got a lift home from Pittodrie, and somebody had contacts in driving.
That's right. You wore my wife's contacts by accident.
I've never seen anything like this before in my life.
if any law enforcement listening,
honestly, I could not get out that.
So are they prescribed to you personally?
Obviously,
it's not just a one
pick up a random set.
He picked up his missus.
Yeah.
He's sitting there, and oh mother,
not strong enough for me.
Oh right, that must be awkward. Do you wear them in the shower?
Yeah. Why? Who
do you not need to check out when you wear them?
Do you wear them in this stuff?
It's just fascinating. I don't think I'll ever need contacts or specs.
You always get that excuse. I didn't have my contacts in there.
There we are. Hold on. Drama with one of these.
VAR review with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Willie Collum's gone to the screen, and that goal has been disallowed. It's Livy 0, Dundee 0. Dalziel Maeda has got a spare contact lens that has gone in. He's good, he's fine, he's continuing, and we're goalless. We've got
Dundee goal was 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're struggling enough to come up with goals here at the moment without any getting chopped off, but there we go.
But I agree with the Dazzler. That was a long time before Willie, the controversy column, went to the machine.
Yeah, I think about 2.5, 3 minutes all in, I think. Something like that.
They're thinking up ways to rule out goals. The game is shot to pieces with this rubbish.
See, the thing is, I obviously agree with that sentiment in the sense that, I mean, I could have smashed the telly on the Scotland-Spain night and all that stuff. But you don't even know if that was the right decision to rule that out. So I wonder if people do need to just chill a little bit. Because it could be the goal that sends Livy down and it's given incorrectly. So if it's there for that purpose.
But then they're sitting there. We'll find out the exact length of time it took between that happening and Willie Collum going to the monitor. But it just strikes me
after my game last night, Hugh, the referee came up to me and said, I listened to the show, and who's on the night? Is it Hugh? And he said, that show though, all you do, especially Hugh, is have a court referees this, referees that, VAR. I hope it's not a pattern of things to come where I'm getting stick.
Couple of changes for Celtic. Paulo Bernardo and Dalziel Maeda off. James Forrest and David Turnbull on?
Well, in the case of Dalziel Maida, nothing to do with his contact lenses. When he...
What a waste of time having to put the spare one back in if he was coming off.
So he could see his number when it gets put up.
When Dalziel Maida looks tired at the end of a match, you know that he has run until he could run no more. So it's definitely fatigue where Maeda's concerned. It's a problem, and David Turnbull is now at the stage where he's coming in out of Siberia, so it'd be a very good afternoon for him to show Brendan Rodgers there's still something there to invest in.
I thought Turnbull was a funny one in midweek, but the way he started the season, the way Brendan Rodgers gave him his first start and how he took it, and then just drifted a bit into obscurity, but he's still a good enough player to be involved in Wednesday night and be put on at some stage.
Yeah, because I suppose I know midfielders do different profiles, but was it Rotterdam that, and that's early in the season, Holmes given the nod to go on, he then gets sent off. I mean, Iwata was on last week, which worked out.
How do you take a step back to that extent? You know, it's a strange one, but he's on now.
Chance for Ross County. Simon Murray flicked a Turner shot towards the goal. It was unlucky. It sort of hit Liam Kelly, and then the keeper fell on the ball, so still goalless there. However, Gordon Dalziel has got the answer to the teaser.
Yes, he has.
I broke it all down. I took my time. I played through the lines. I got there in front of goals, tapped it in. Do you want to see it, or do you want to still play?
No, I'll still play.
You sure?
Aye.
Okay. Well, get 3 columns, put it all down, and then you can fit.
I can't believe you've got an actual thought process.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Just doesn't strike me as something you would do, but there we go. Keep your guesses coming. Let's do some wrong ones. Hugh, read the question, please.
Okay, I have played alongside Alan McGregor and Chris Commons. I've been managed by Nigel Clough and Alan Johnston. During my time in Scotland, I was once named the Premiership Player of the Month, and I played at a World Cup. Who am I?
I told you it wasn't him.
David thinks it is Jason Cummings.
It's not.
Lewis thinks it's Colin Hendry.
No.
And George Buchan thinks it might be Russell Latapi.
Think again. Russell Latapi playing with Chris Commons. That'd be an idea.
3 columns. That's all you have to do. Just narrow it down.
The ponytailless Stevie May has come on in Perth to show off his new hairdo. I don't know if anything will happen on the pitch because they're 2-0 down against a pretty good St Mirren team, but there we are. He is on nevertheless.
Well, say Stevie McLean, the manager, is a gambling man chasing his losses. He's got to try anything. He's tried Nicky Clark, not happening. Now Stevie May, he's just a man at the end of his tether.
I was going to say, obviously, Ange Ball is not missing Harry Kane. Another win last night, and they go stay top of the English Premier League. However, Harry Kane has scored from his own half for Bayern Munich this afternoon.
The move's
popped up on my Twitter feed.
It's one of those transfers where the move has been wonderful for Harry Kane, who's scoring for fun in the Bundesliga, and wonderful for Ange Postecoglou, because even without Harry Kane, he's now 5 points clear at the top of the English Premier League. Astonishing. I would love to see, and it will never ever be repeated, a man who wins the Scottish Premiership one season and the English Premier League the following season. It will never ever be done again.
Bayern only won 8-0 though today, so maybe they're
8-0.
8-0.
We've got another goal to tell you about.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Ross County have taken the lead at Fir Park. It's Motherwell 0, Ross County 1, and it's Eamon Brophy. It's a low right-footed shot, 16 yards out. It beats Liam Kelly, and it puts Ross County a goal to the good.
Well, it's why I fancied Ross County for their front line. Danda's off, but I did say that Simon Murray and Eamon Brophy carry more a threat than what Motherwell had on the field, and have been proven right so far. So all to do for Stuart Kettlewell's team to get back in the game.
5 wins, or rather 5 defeats in a row for Motherwell would not be a good look. And I but always praise Stuart Kettlewell for the job that he has done at Fir Park. It's been amazing, but he has hit a slump.
Hold that, there's a check.
Oh no!
Has there ever been a game that there's been so many VAR checks this season in
like
Fir Park?
No, the goal stands. There you go. You're okay.
No.
Check for a handball in the build-up.
Well, has to be done, but yeah, it's a funny old season for Motherwell. Miss Lennon Miller, I guess, in there, but even when he was involved, just a bit of a slump in it. Look, it never helps when you've got Celtic and Rangers in successive weeks and you play so well but get nothing out the game, and then defeats either side make it look worse.
But it's a very strange league, isn't it? Because if Ross County go and win today, they leapfrog Motherwell, who are in the top 6, and Ross County are sitting second bottom.
Yeah,
it's incredible, Hugh.
But remember, Ross County game 1 at Celtic Park, we were all impressed with them. By the way, I think I've got them maybe in relegation zone when we made our predictions, and after I saw them that day I thought, yeah, there's something in this side. Good individuals, coached well, but just maybe didn't kick on for them. Maybe this is them starting to turn the corner a bit.
Well, we will see. Still about 25 to go in that one, so see if there is a way back for Motherwell, or if Ross County can either hold on or build on it. Goalless at Easter Road. Is that our only goalless game now? No, we're still Livy Dundee. I forgot that VAR intervention overturned that one. So there we go, 2 goalless games.
It's a lack of chances at Easter Road that's surprising. All the talent that Celtic's got in show, and then when you look at Hibs as well, when you look at their front line, Vente and Boyle, you know, and the pace of you, and real lack of goalmouth action.
Well, you get the impression, you know, the longer it goes on, you know, Celtic have not been themselves. Clearly fatigue is kicked in, and the longer it goes on, that will get worse.
I think it's
a late winner there.
Well, it's acceptable to not be yourself, I think, after a game like Wednesday, but a team like Celtic, you always have to have match winners. Somebody that's willing to step up and do something out the ordinary in games like today. Listen, Kyogo is a match winner. James Forrest, Easter Road's always been a good ground for him. He's brought onto the pitch now. O'Reilly and McGregor can do it. They need one of them just to step up with something.
But here's another example of
he's coming on,
having been rejected until now.
Brilliant
timing.
Palma goes off. VAR red card check for Christian Montano. It was on Boateng. He was booked by Willie Collum, but he's now going to the screen now. Here's a substitution for you, right? None of you predicted this today. Kyogo off.
Centre half. Scales.
What do you mean?
Oh, sorry.
Who's
Kyogo
coming on?
Sorry, who's coming on? Sorry, I thought O was coming on.
Who's coming? I'll say a youngster.
Mikey Johnson.
Yeah,
Brendan Rodgers likes him, doesn't he?
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
I watched it. He looked sharp. I watched him in the international game. I can't
Republic
remember.
of Ireland.
Yeah, I
Number
can't remember who they're
90,
playing.
I believe he is. Mikey Johnson. I saw that in the team.
Christian Montano's been sent off for Livy, and we've got another goal in Paisley.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's 2 for Mikel Mandron. It's 3 for St Mirren, and that game is done and dusted. Hugh Keevins.
Very much so, but what's not done and dusted is the concern surrounding St Johnstone, because this is quarter of the season just about gone, and they have 4 points from 4 draws and 5 defeats to go with that, and they look in bother.
Yeah, it's a real sore one in the making there.
Yes, certainly. Yeah, they are struggling at both ends, though. You know, we're used to seeing St Johnstone teams over the years being hard to play against, resolute, home and away, but they've got the worst side of both. They're easy to play against, easy to score, and they don't score hardly any goals. So that only leads to one thing: the position they're in at the minute, and you just don't know where, you know, the goals or the points are coming from for Stevie McLean.
You're quite right to draw attention to the Mikey Johnson substitution, though. I mean, who would have thought that Celtic would end up with Mikey Johnson, and who's left up front? Mikey Johnson,
James Forrest.
I mean, that's a front three you would just not have imagined in this season.
Yeah,
do you know, it's a great opportunity for Mikey Johnson, right?
That's what I like about you. You're an eternal optimist.
I just think, well, have a look at Scales, right? At the beginning of the season, we would never have been saying in a couple of months, where do you think Scales will be? We'd all thought Aberdeen, Pittodrie, and he's been brilliant for Celtic. Mikey Johnson brought in out the cold, under a new manager.
He's just lined up a shot, Mikey Johnson, and it's gone out for a Hibs throw.
I don't think you can doubt his talent, Mikey Johnson.
What's held him back? His fitness, his injuries.
He plays maybe 3 games and he's injured, and it's not the boy's fault, but that's what's held him back in his career. Brendan Rodgers liked him first time round. I think he caught everybody's eye because he's direct, he's got an end product, but it's just injuries.
How old is Mikey Johnson?
He must be 22, maybe? I don't know.
More than that, surely.
More than that.
He was there first time around with Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah.
And that was 4 years
24.
ago.
There we go.
Well,
not far off.
You see, when you think about it, still got a bit of a career ahead of him.
I bet he's only 24.
I know, but he's not played a lot of football, has he?
Yeah.
You know, so this could be the start of something new.
Well, it goes to show you, he's got Yang on the bench as well, and he's opted for James Forrest and Mikey Johnson before Yang. So, you know, Yang started against Lazio, remember, just last month. So
good point.
It shows you Brendan Rodgers maybe still trying to find a solution. If Palmer or Maeda isn't in either side, with Abada being out, who is the best out of these lot? And it seems to be they're all getting a shot at it. Nobody really grabbing the jersey though.
Standout result of the Scottish Cup so far, right? And it's not necessarily a shock in terms of difference in division. 2 Lowland League teams going at it, but East Kilbride, I think, unbeaten start to the Lowland League and absolutely flying, are 7-0 down
Are they 10 men?
At Trinent.
7-0?
11v11?
7-0. I've got another goal at Fir Park.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's the second for Ross County, and it's the other one this time. Mark Wilson, it is Simon Murray. Motherwell 0, Ross County 2, and that could be that. Stuart Kettlewell had just gone into the book for being over the top with his frustrations, and Simon Murray has made Motherwell pay. Ross County 2-0 up at Fir Park.
And 5 losses in a row for Motherwell. Problems there needing to be addressed, and it cannot be as simple as bring back Lennon Miller. You know, the problems go deeper than that if you lose 5 games on the bounce.
A big problem, like Motherwell, or like most teams, they've not got that. Van Veen, for instance, battering in the goals left, right and centre. What a difference that makes. Motherwell's not got that. Motherwell's not got that centre forward that's got to get you 15 plus goals. Absolutely not. So defensively a bit poor just now. It's a poor run. I think the next game home to Aberdeen, Gordon, am I right in saying that? And then I think 2 away ones. Kilmarnock first away trip. So I can't see them getting back into this game. So next week's so important for them. Can't go 6.
Power of having 2, decent strikers up front. Daz is right in highlighting Van Veen. But I don't know how Ross County's playing. I don't know how the balance of the game's going. But if you've got Brophy and Murray up there, you've always got a chance of nicking something. Both of them have scored.
Who would be Motherwell's top goal scorer? You'll know this better than me. Probably, how many? 3, 4?
I don't know, yeah.
3, 4? So you look at...
won't even be as many as that, because we're early in the season. Not loads of teams have got players like that sort of.
But that's a worry for me. Bear come in, he scored Dundee, didn't he, just on half time at Dens, and you're thinking, this could be a turning point. The manager got a lot of praise, thinking, he could revamp his career, but he looks like he doesn't even know where a goal is. You need a sat-nav to find it.
Good old Scottish football. Gabriel, who's regularly on the show, he's enjoying a day off. He's a student of the game. He's gone to Dumbarton against Banks O'Dea in the Scottish Cup. The ref has gone down injured, and over the PA is anyone in the stands a qualified official?
No. Yeah, you've never been to a game like that?
Superb.
I've never been in the presence of that, no.
I've had that as a manager, and then somebody would come down to the stand and run the line,
so
and they would be the manager.
Ref will go on, because they don't have 4th officials at that level, do they?
But here's the thing: how could you ever trust anybody? Did he carry a wee card like a driving licence with him to say, look, I'm a registered official? Because what's to stop any numpty just saying, by the way, I've had a few pints before the game, I'm just going to say for a laugh.
I remember at Somerset we were playing one day, and
is there a qualified manager in the
crowd? No, they wouldn't think come down and the announcer if there was any joiners in the stadium.
Any joiners?
Take them round and fix it. They work with B&Q.
See, I love that, because that's like it's a bit of a thing, isn't it? Like over the years, but I don't think I've ever witnessed it.
Me neither.
Never.
Remember, was it last season? Was it Albion Rovers? They asked for an assistant referee to come on, and did a staff member not take it on, and then the game got stopped again? It was somebody to run the line. We were in here.
A committee man.
I think somebody
flag.
for the opposite team took it, and then the players complained that it got stopped. But I've never been in the presence. I'd love to be there to see who takes on that role.
I like to think they've only got dress shoes with them as well.
Yeah, and plus the fact
a pair of Hugh Keevins hush puppies running up and down the line.
By the way, I put that photo of you with a scarf on my Instagram. First comment is slaughtering your shoes. The shoes are worse than the scarf. They're a pair of your better ones as well. Exactly.
Any updates on the teaser, please, Hugh? Let's run through it again. Venti off, Lafondra on. Maybe Hibs fancy nicking this.
I have played alongside Alan McGregor and Chris Commons. I've been managed by Nigel Clough and Alan Johnston. During my time in Scotland, I was once named the Premiership Player of the Month, and I played at a World Cup. Who am I?
What have we got on Twitter? The guesses coming in. Chris Gillen wants to throw in Scott McDonald.
Throw him back out.
Okay, you're not far off.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
From the same part of the world. John thinks
Gary.
what on earth is that? Never do that again. John thinks Barry Bannon.
Barry
Now
Bannon.
that is the wrong part of the world.
He was from Coatbridge.
Yeah, but bit far away from where this guy's from. But
Yeah.
there we go. Big Mo's tweeted in. You know, we discussed that Harry Kane goal earlier, and it was 8-0. Apparently the first goal came in the 51st minute.
Wow.
You have to look that up. That's remarkable. That
Well
is
played.
remarkable. Penalty Motherwell. Maybe there is a way. And Bayern went down to 10 men after 4 minutes.
They beat them in 0 with
See,
10 men.
our league gets a battering for how uncompetitive it is, but that league gets off lightly with Bayern Munich.
Yeah, it was 0-0 half time. Bayern down to 10 men. Darmstadt then got 2 men sent off. Bayern went on to win 8-0.
You're not saying much now, are you, Wills?
Anyway,
good Bundesliga. Go, come on.
Mika Biereth, he's meant to be his big saviour for the Motherwell fans. Have been desperate to get him back. He's back and he's come on, and he's won a penalty, and he's going to take it. Mika Biereth steps up for Motherwell.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goalkeeper goes the wrong way, and Mika Biereth finds the back of the net. Do we have a game on our hands? Motherwell 1, Ross County 2, with about 10 to 15 minutes left in that one. Not sure where we're at exactly.
Check your diary for Wednesday night.
Why?
Palmerston Pep.
Oh, no. Queen of the South 0, Cove Rangers 1. Palmerston Pep will not be happy.
Don't know if I'm so confident now about Ross County. Goals do change games, and when you've got 15 minutes to go and you just concede one, you're comfortable afternoon, loving being involved in the game. Winning 2-0 all of a sudden becomes a backs to the wall job. So Motherwell throw everything at it.
Hey, there you go. This, Dan that works in here sometimes works in the show. Dan says the only time he's ever seen an official go down injured was a game that the assistant ref rolled his ankle up Celtic Park, and you set up Anthony Stokes for a 1-0 win against St Johnstone.
Really?
Apparently so.
Do you even remember that?
Don't remember that?
No, not at all.
One of those,
was that maybe my last game?
A warm summer evening when the title was wrapped up.
That was my last game ever, I think, for Celtic.
You
So
talking
everyone else,
about Dan for Turkey?
Yes.
everyone else remembers it with the referee going down injured, or the official
that was
rather than it being your last game.
Captain in the side, my last game.
Did you captain Celtic in your last game?
Yep.
Was that because the manager knew you were leaving and gave you the armband, or was that?
Well, I knew he was chucking me out. No leaving. I wasn't leaving. I would still be there if I could have. He kind of told me you're not getting a new contract.
Who freed you from Celtic? Strachan?
Lenny.
Huh? Good on him.
Always like
I love Lenny.
He's honest. He didn't beat about the bush with the wording of it. He didn't build it up.
Did they pull you in office and say, Mark, Shadow is coming in to play right back?
He didn't even gaze that. He just says you're not getting a new contract.
I'd love to have been there.
Okay.
Elgin City, I know they're toiling in League 2, but they're playing Genefield Swifts in the Scottish Cup, and they are 6-0 down.
My goodness.
How does that happen?
I don't know how that happens, really. You know, it shouldn't happen. It's making a mockery of our leagues. the Scottish Cup.
Where's the Swifts from then? Where
Perth, Newson, yeah.
Yeah, they've got they've got the full kind of academy set up from young kids all the way through. One of the kind of club setups.
So it'd be decent.
Hold on a minute, got one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it's now 1-0 to Dundee again. Joe Shaughnessy with the goal. Of course, Livy went down to 10 men, didn't they? Yep. As a long throw just flicked on, then a shot from point blank range, and it is 1-0 to Tony Docherty's side. A near post finish, and maybe that will be that deserved.
That'll be some result for Dundee, as I say, building on good work over the past 5-6 weeks. Only lost one game in that period. Good few draws in there. And a win away at Livy is always welcome by any team, and that includes Celtic and Rangers in that. So well done, Tony Dock, if it stays that late.
Definitely. Have to be impressed with that start to the season, Hugh.
Yeah, but we talk about Davy Martindale and the job that he's done at Livy, and every word of it, the praise he gets, thoroughly deserved. But inevitably there was going to come a time when it would go a bit wobbly, and I think it's wobbling now. Dundee
VAR check for offside.
No. Wait 5 minutes before you start talking.
We'll just have to wait and see. Hold that thought.
Surely this time
it's gone quiet at Easter Road. Is Hugh right? Is it?
I'm giving
0-0 written all over this.
I'm giving that man all the credit in the world.
Can Hibs nick it?
Well, there's more chance of Hibs doing it.
Is there though?
Yeah, I think so. Lafondra scores goals wherever he's been all his life. And I go back to the point, Celtic are finished up with a front three.
Goal given this time, sorry.
Yeah. Celtic are finished up with a front three of Mikey Johnson, and Jamesy Forrest. I mean,
I disagree with that.
It's just tough though, isn't it, right? Because I know what you're saying.
But if you're Hibs, you'd take a point.
Those three would probably still get a game for Hibs though, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But
maybe not over Martin Boyle, to be fair.
But Celtic will drop points today, and Rangers will play tomorrow, and the top of the league will be down to 2 points by tomorrow.
So Rangers won't have a hangover for Thursday?
No, not at all. And they're playing Hearts. Which means Celtic will get a point today, and that would be 8. And if Rangers win tomorrow, that's it down to 5. I beg your pardon, 5.
Goal at Fir Park. County were 2-0 up. Motherwell pulled one back.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
But it's Ross County who score again. Victor Laturi 3-1 now, and surely the 3 points heading back up the
A9.
You're usually the man for the roads. Come on.
Try to think where it was.
He ran past Gent. The first shot saved by Kelly, but the rebound into the empty net, and that will be that, you have to imagine.
Oh yeah.
Counter-attack probably. Motherwell throwing everything at it, trying to get that equaliser. Quite rightly so, they're at home. But Ross County, well done. Mark predicted that at the beginning of the programme. Good 3 points for Ross County and Malcolm Mackay, but disappointing for the Steelmen.
Mikey Johnson nearly fires one into the top corner, but it's saved by David Marshall. And we've got another goal. Where is it though?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's Dundee again, and more surprisingly it's Joe Shaughnessy again, who had him on a hat-trick with a few minutes to go. A finish at the back post. Dundee 2-0 up at Livy, looking good. The away teams are enjoying a couple of those fixtures today, and what a win that's going to be for Dundee.
We had a hat-trick last week with Kevin Holt, centre half. Can Shaughnessy add to that? Great time to get a double. That's a great 3 points.
Oh, that could be a vital late one there. Ayr United 0, Morton 1. George Oakley in the 87th minute.
Massive, especially for Morton down the bottom of that table. How's Inverness going? They still winning? They still beating Airdrie?
Last I checked, yep.
Morton's best performance of the season, you've got to say, has been at Ibrox.
They ran Rangers close, didn't they? Levitt and Whittaker on for Hibs, Jago and Tavares off. So I think it's this stage of the game, everyone just reshuffles things, don't they, and sees what they can come up with. If you are Hibs, I suppose though, sometimes we say this, can you just go for it? Can you just chuck everything at it? Sometimes it's just easier said than done, doesn't it?
I would take the point.
100%.
I would take the point. I know they're at home. I know they're up against a Celtic team that's not been buying form this afternoon. But after the last week and the criticism you come in for the Rangers' performance at Ibrox, I think you would take a point and be happy.
Assistant referee Chris Gentles is now in charge at Dumbarton, and a member of the crowd is running the line. That's
right, hold on. Are they kitted out? Did they go in and get changed, or they in with their?
No, I don't know, just
with a Haley Hansen jacket on,
casual wear on.
Because surely they've not got time to go in and get changed.
Is it Gabriel that's come on?
Gabs to get a picture of that.
And bearing in mind they are in the process, Dumbarton, of going out the cup to Banks of Dee.
Oh, dodgy decision coming their way then. Right, Gabs needs to send in a picture. I want to see somebody just with their jeans on, a jacket with a flag.
Signage. Just do the hospitality.
Amazing Scottish football.
Can we try and track that person down and get them on the show on Monday night?
Is it at Dumbarton? Yeah,
yes.
That's where. Yeah, that's the place I got locked in. That was a nightmare.
Yeah, so we'll see. Right, we're into late drama territory. If we're going to get a goal at Easter Road, it will surely be the winner. Although you might have said that at Fir Park a couple of weeks ago when it looked exactly like this, actually.
Very much so.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen again, but just a reminder. Oh, hold on a minute, I've just discovered that the highlights of Partick Thistle under 18's 3-1 win against Ross County are on.
Oh, it's on
social media.
And you know what, that's part of the role. I need to set up that camera. I need to download the action. Yeah.
You do the camera work as well.
Aye, so I've got the big VCR on my shoulder, and while I'm shouting,
I'll give you a couple of gigs.
Standing arms folded. He's urging the players to get the ball forward quick. That's just a terrible mistake. You can't take credit for that goal. That's embarrassing.
No, I was telling my striker to run. That was my instruction to the big boy.
Who's this big red-headed racehorse? He can't be an under 18.
What's his name?
That's the 15-year-old I was telling you about. That's well,
what's his name?
I don't want to give it away.
Secret. He doesn't want Barca to come and sign him.
I know.
See the size of this kid.
Aye. 15-year-old. Unbelievable.
He's 15. Are you sure?
Well, I kept saying to my assistant,
off the bar, James Forrest. Celtic comes so close to snatching it, but it comes back off the woodwork. We do have one of these
goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goal Motherwell 2, Ross County 3. I mean, it has been checked for offside, obviously, so hold your horses on that one. But Connor Wilkinson thinks he's given Motherwell a chance heading into the last few minutes, but we'll wait and see. What about this one?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
I think this one will stand anyway. It's Greg Kilty and St Mirren 4, St Johnstone 0. It is an absolute doing for the Perth Saints. Delight for the Paisley Saints though, and it is 4-0 to St Mirren. Fraser Wishart has had more VAR checks than he cares to mention, but the goal is given and Motherwell are back in it. Maybe, just maybe a chance. Couple of minutes left. Celtic are really pressing here. Hibs are putting bodies on the line though, and there is no breakthrough. James Forrest off the bar, and remember we are a bit behind in that game, so there's a bit longer to go at Celtic Park. 1 minute plus stoppage to go at Fir Park, so Motherwell don't have long. We're only in the 85th minute at Easter Road. So you never know. 3 minutes added on in Paisley, but let's be honest, Steve McLean's he's got the white flag out. He's not bothered.
There are defeats and then there are heavy defeats, and you know he's starting to move into that territory where he's getting a going over.
Would he come under pressure, Hugh?
Well, he's got to. I mean, St Johnstone.
I know, but they've no money, have they? They got to.
I understand that, but the survival is imperative. You know, they're trying to sell the club. The Brown family have looked after St Johnstone for a long time, decades. But they're trying to sell the club, and it stands to reason that if you're selling a Championship club, you don't get as much as a Premiership club.
7 minutes added at Roger Hanna's game at the Tony Macaroni Arena and at Fir Park. So Motherwell have got 7 minutes to go and try and find that equaliser, and they would definitely take that at this.
It'll feel like a win
point in time. When you see the pressure mounting at Easter Road, they've got a bit longer there. The James Forrest chance, I wonder if that's the one that Celtic will live to regret, because he hits the bar from a volley, which sounds difficult, and it is to an extent, but I do wonder if he should have done better.
Tell you what, the similarities to Fir Park. Remember James Forrest missed a header when it was 0-0 after he'd just come on there, and we're hearing he's missed a sitter with just 5 minutes remaining. Very similar.
I'm not sure about the sitter category, but maybe should have done better, kept it down. But you never know. That day at Fir Park, there was time left for Celtic to come up with something. Can they do the same today? We speculated earlier Hibs would certainly take a draw now because it is backs to the wall stuff. And we do have a bit of time left there. 7 minutes added at Fir Park if Motherwell want to try and get an equaliser in that one. Oh, the Palmerston Peps lost, finished Queen of the South 0, Cove Rangers 1.
Right, we'll need somebody for Wednesday's show.
Right.
Anybody available?
Oh, you'll be pleased to know Dumbarton are claiming it is a qualified official from the crowd.
Aye.
But he would say that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would
Shows your
say.
documents, mate.
Yeah.
That's what I would be saying.
Do you think he carries like red and yellow cards?
Yeah,
just for proof?
Why wouldn't you?
In his
You're a
pocket.
qualified official. Of course you would.
Just to be sure.
I mean, you wouldn't even put yourself forward for that, would you? See, even if you were and you were in the crowd watching the game.
Listen, that's
No,
your,
you're a
I think
professional,
that's your
that's-
calling.
Yes.
If you've,
Is it?
100%.
if you've come through the...
Like a doctor, if you're having a nice meal and somebody, you know, needs first aid,
That's it.
you
What-
need to step up.
You have to run the line, just get the tie off, get the button loose, and away you go.
That's the way refs used to ref, Hugh, with the shirt, with the the cardigan, the black
That's right.
cardigan
A
over
jacket,
a big jacket,
khaki jacket.
That's it. Look the part,
That
Hugh.
must have been comfortable.
Full
Tiny
time in Paisley. David Friel.
Full time, Gordon Booze coming from the St Johnstone end, and no wonder. We get 2 goals for Mikael Mandron, 3 points for St Mirren, still no wins for St Johnstone. St Mirren 4, St Johnstone 0. What a result for Stephen Robinson's side this was. They move level on 18 points with Rangers in second place and 7 points ahead of 4th placed Hearts. Obviously both of them meet tomorrow at Ibrox. St Johnstone did well for the first half hour, but then they collapsed really as they stay rooted to the bottom of the table. Stephen McLean's side are in big trouble. The fans aren't happy. Players look absolutely dejected. Keanu Bacchus puts St Mirren ahead with a brilliant opener. Mikael Mandron then grabbed a double and Greg Kiltie added a late fourth. St Johnstone, to be fair, they started well, enjoyed a bit of pressure in the first half, but were then picked off on the counter in 36 minutes. A sweeping move ended with Greg Kiltie teeing up Bacchus, and he found the top corner from around 20 yards. St Johnstone players were sent out early for the second half. They must have been out a good couple of minutes before St Mirren players, but it made no difference as St Mirren killed the game in 48 minutes. It was a nightmare for James Brown, the St Johnstone defender. He was caught in 2 minds across, come into the box. It looks as if he was going to clear it, then control it. Instead he just nudged the ball straight into the path of Mikael Mandron. He guided a cool finish into the bottom corner from 10 yards. St Johnstone tried everything. They threw on Stevie May, Chris Kane. They did create some half chances, but St Mirren were always a threat, and they killed the game again in 70 minutes with another Mandron goal. Toyosi Olasanya did well on the left. He teed up Mandron and he found the bottom corner. St Johnstone were gone at that point. They were all over the place, and Greg Kiltie then finished off another really flowing move at the back post. St Mirren absolutely flying. St Johnstone in deep trouble. Full time, St Mirren 4, St Johnstone 0.
You've not missed anything. Celtic haven't found the breakthrough. Neither of Hibs. Were into the 7 minutes added on at Fir Park, where Motherwell are frantically looking for what would be a dramatic equaliser, and they have it.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
3-3 at Fir Park. Motherwell were 2-0 down. They were 3-1 down, and now young substitute Luca Ross has poked the ball home from close range. You know what I'm going to say. There is a VAR check, of course.
Come on.
And these would be the ones, as you say, Hugh Keevins, that like emotion, that bit about a young man coming on and getting the last minute equaliser, 95th, 96th minute. That's 8 VAR checks for Fraser Wishart so far.
I think that's a farce. You know, 8 VAR checks in one game is a farce.
I have to be consistent because I want this more than any of them so far to just be brushed over and this goal to stand. Suppose if you're Ross County and you say, well, look, if there's an and it's given, there we go. Motherwell 3, Ross County 3. What a game that has been, Gordon Dalziel.
Yeah, terrific fight back. We'd given up Motherwell, put them down for another defeat, but that could be a turning point. Going into, they've got a home game next week against Aberdeen, so that will give them a lot of confidence. Great fight back, great spirit, and I think the manager will be happy because he would have snatched their hand off for a point at 3-1 down.
Yeah, 2-0 down and 3-1 down, Mark. 3-1 down, and Motherwell are now going for the winner. They've got a couple of minutes left to try and do it. That would be... Fraser Wishart will be on the park if that happens. The old Motherwell scarf out from the 80s.
Well, you wouldn't put it past them.
they're trying to give me the perfect ACCA. I need a Motherwell goal and get the perfect ACCA.
Yeah, we do tend to let people down in that regard. But anyway, some game.
Yeah, you find a lot about your players in situations like that. I'm sure Stuart Ketwell will this afternoon. Looked dead and buried, but showed spirit to get back into it.
Malky Mackay, the Ross County manager, defender in his day at Celtic. And he can't be happy being 3-1 up, and now he's trying to hold on to 3-3. So, defensively, Ross County must be having a shocker.
Well, it was slow at the beginning for goals, but certainly livened up. We've got a bit of excitement, and
I noticed some messages flying back and forward on my group chat earlier on. I've got one close friend who's a Rangers fan who'd been dragged along to the Motherwell game today, and another who's a Celtic fan that had gone, and at half time they were both giving it, this is rubbish, this is a rip-off, what am I doing here? Value for your money. There we go, that's the one thing you're guaranteed. 6 goals all told, not done yet. David Turnbull, low ball, front post. James Forrest, he's under a bit of pressure, couldn't direct it on target. It has finished in Livingston, Roger.
And it's finished Livingston 0, Dundee 2. Dundee's first win in 2 months was sealed by a late double by captain Joe Shaughnessy. A deserved victory in a game that turned in a VAR red card for Christian Montano midway through the second half. VAR had already cancelled out a Dark Blues opener for substitute Amadou Bakayoko, but Tony Docherty's men simply refused to be denied the 3 points, and they netted twice in the final 8 minutes. The win astonishingly takes them into 4th place as things stand in the Premiership and dumps Livingston down to 9th. The first half instantly forgettable. Luke McCowan a couple of half chances for Dundee, and Montano slicing a shot wide from outside the box for Livy, but Docherty tried to crank it up. He sent on Bakayoko for Lyle Cameron at the break, and it was night and day in the second half. Montano ran 80 yards down the left and fired just wide before Bakayoko with a shot straight at Jamal George. Luke McCowan next to threaten for the visitors. His effort saved again by George before Sean Kelly fired wide at the other end. Zach Rudden then went round the Livy goalkeeper, but his shot wide at the far post from a very tight angle. And then in 57 minutes, Dundee thought they had taken the lead. Livy lost the ball in midfield. Rudden to McCowan to Bakayoko. He steered a low shot past George, initially given, but then VAR Grant Irvin sent referee Willie Cullum to the screen, and it was disallowed for Malachy Boateng lying on the ground in front of George as Bakayoko hit the shot. Boateng seemingly in an offside position. Montano then a victim of VAR. Just 13 minutes later, he was booked by Cullum for a foul on Boateng, but then the referee again returned to the screen, and he decided it was a red card for the Livingston centre half. He went off, they went down to 10 men. Livingston just pushed in, Dundee pushed and pushed. On came Scott Tiffany for Jordan McGee as Tony Docherty sensed the 3 points, and he got them. 82 minutes, long throw into the box, flicked on, and there was Shaughnessy at the near post to squeeze in a tight finish from point blank range. 3 minutes later he doubled it in the back post, this time for 2-0. Dundee were rampant, Livingston were gone. Zach Rudden hit the post in 7 minutes of added time, otherwise it would have an even bigger away win. Dundee in top 4, Livy in a bit of bother. Livingston 0, Dundee 2.
And it's finished at Easter Road, Andrew McLean.
It is indeed, and it's finished Hibs 0, Celtic 0. Not a classic here at all, but it is a really valuable point for Hibs and Nick Montgomery, and it is another game at Easter Road without a win for Brendan Rodgers. The first half, no real quality in it whatsoever. The first real point of interest was an injury to Alistair Johnson. The ball smashed off his face from close range by Rocky Bashiri. He tried to play on, probably shouldn't have, looked in a real bit of discomfort and had to come off for Anthony Ralston. In terms of chances, not really much created before half time. There was a couple of opportunities for Celtic. David Marshall had to make a save from Callum McGregor after the goalkeeper had passed the ball straight to the Celtic captain. Then a wonderful save from David Marshall after that to deny Dyson Maeda, who looked as if he was set to score after Paulo Bernardo was initially denied by Will Fish. The quality never really came in the second half either, but the game did open up a bit and became more entertaining. There was a really deep cross from Jordan Abita after the break. That found Martin Boyle. He was stretching though, around 8 yards out, could only direct it over the bar. Both sides made changes. They couldn't really create many goal-scoring chances. Then one of the substitutes, Mikey Johnson, he went close. His shot was heading for the top corner David Marshall with another good save to put that one out for a corner. Then the best chance of the game late on, it was another substitute for Celtic. The corner dropping to James Forrest at the back post on the volley, but it came crashing off the bar. He probably should have hit the target, and that is the chance that Celtic will look back on. They continued to pile on the pressure late on, but Hibs held firm in the end. After looking shaky defensively at the start of the game, there were a few moans and groans early on from Hibs supporters, but they are fully behind the team after that full-time whistle. The full-time score here at Easter Road: Hibs 0, Celtic 0.
And it's finished at Fir Park. What a thriller that was. Hopefully Fraser Wishart's got his breath back.
It was a thriller, getting my breath back, Gordon. Thriller in the second half. It was Motherwell 3, Ross County 3, because the first half was pretty poor, but the second half, absolutely fantastic. 6 goals, Motherwell 3-1 down with 2 minutes to go. Somehow managed to get a goal from Wilkinson in 88 minutes, and then 4 minutes into stoppage time, young striker Luca Ross poked the ball home to get Motherwell a point. Not a lot of chances in the first half. County started well. Brophy at full stretch, couldn't get a touch to Randall. Cross line, Leake headed wide in front of goal when he should have scored. Then Brophy was denied. A brilliant tackle by Paul McGinn. For Motherwell, close to came to scoring was a Brodie Spencer header that hit the post. Wasn't much better in the second half. Kyle Turner was on for Danda in the search of a goal. The path of the game didn't change much until the hour mark when Scott Allardyce shot just about a yard away from 25 yards. In 62 minutes, County almost took the lead when Kyle Turner, low shot, was flicked goals by Simon Murray. He was unlucky. The ball hit Kelly on his line. The keeper didn't really know much about it. But in 66 minutes, they did take the lead. Eamon Brophy onto a loose ball with a low 16-yard cross across Kelly with his shot, and then who got a hand to it, but he couldn't keep it out. It was into the right hand corner. 2-0 a couple of minutes later. Brilliant finish by Simon Murray. Sharp turn 20 yards out, and he curled a low shot past Kelly into the left hand post. Stuart Kettlewell had thrown on Mika Biereth, and he needed some of his magic, and he immediately got Motherwell a lifeline. 78 minutes. He was brought down by keeper Loss Laidlaw as he ran onto a loose ball. The young striker stepped up to send the goalkeeper the wrong way, but a real blow in 83 minutes. County back to their 2-goal lead. Samuel Flick put Latourie in behind Gent. His first shot was saved by the legs of Kelly. The rebound fell nicely to Latourie, who tucked the ball into the empty net, and Motherwell looked dead and buried at that point. With 2 minutes to go, Conor Wilkinson went past a couple of defenders, a nice bit of skill, and finished well low to the goalkeeper's right with his left foot. They gave the fans some hope, but County, hoping to hang on for the 7 minutes of stoppage time, were denied the 3 points in 94 minutes. Just a long ball into the box, 3 or 4 players challenging for it. The ball bounced around the 6 yard. It's a real scramble, and young Luca Ross, a couple of yards out, poked the ball home and coolly celebrated with the Motherwell supporters. County were devastated. Better team deserved to win, but they couldn't hang on. But maybe for Motherwell, who looked down and out, this could be the point to get their season back on track. Full time at an exciting Fir Park. Motherwell 3, Ross County 3.
Wow, what a day. And now it's over to you to have your say. 0141 951 1025. Let's hear from you. What did you make of today's results, today's performances, today's talking points? Obviously looking at you, Celtic fans. We've gone from one of the best Champions League performances you've seen to dropping points against Hibs at Easter Road. How annoying was it? How frustrating was it? Where did it go wrong in terms of performance? Was it just a European hangover? Was it something more? What does that do to the picture at the top of the table? Because I know lots of you Celtic fans were very confident about simply continuing your dominance at the top. So what did you make of that today at Easter Road, Celtic fans? Give us a call right now. Motherwell fans, are you happy with the point given the way that it came about, or was that still a must win for you? St Mirren fans, you just nothing bad to say at all, is there? Are you getting the passports looked out for Europe already? 0141 951 1025. Call us now and we'll get you on next.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are here, but they want to hear from you. That's the beauty of us being here on a Saturday afternoon, as we've been for many years. As soon as the full-time whistles go, we get that reaction from you. Maybe you're delighted like the St Mirren fans. Maybe you're relieved like the Motherwell fans. And you tell me, Celtic fans, what word would you use? Because you've dropped points away at Hibs. 0-0, no breakthrough on the day. Where did it go wrong? 0141 951 1025. Good win for Dundee at Livingston, 2-0. Rampant St Mirren, 4-0 at home to St Johnstone. Motherwell 3, Ross County 3. And like we said, Hibs 0, Celtic 0. Let's bring in Stephen, who's in Wishaw. How's it going, Stephen?
Hi guys.
Where did it go wrong today, Stephen?
Well, we've got no depth. It's becoming apparent in the from the Ange Postecoglou era where we had this second team on the bench, and now we're putting on players like James Forrest, who's got no pace, Turnbull and Mikey Johnson. Is it 2018 again?
I think it's a fair point that you raise. The summertime buying was all of the projects. Paulo Bernardo did well midweek against Atletico Madrid, but nothing today. Brendan Rodgers, I think, was handed these players rather than chose the players. And the lack of depth becomes exposed by European football, because when Celtic needed to change after the exertions of midweek against Atletico Madrid, there was nothing much to change. And you end up with Mikey Johnson, and James Forrest. Now, James Forrest, illustrious Celtic career. I would never criticise him. He hit the bar. He could have snatched it for Celtic in the end. However, for me, is simply not up to the job of playing for Celtic, whether it's in Europe or domestically. And Mikey Johnson, I don't know, a peripheral figure. Nothing better than a peripheral figure.
But who do you point the finger at for that? If we're to believe what you're saying, Hugh, which I believe in as well, that Brendan Rodgers probably came into the job and had players handed to him and maybe didn't have all the time he required to put his thoughts across. Well, this process then that the Celtic manager previously, Ange Postecoglou, had, we were led to believe that Celtic were so far ahead of the game in terms of recruitment, and they'd maybe earmarked who they were going to bring in this summer, last January, and if you can trace it back that way. So you've got to be looking at what Ange Postecoglou left behind then, if we're saying there's a lack of depth at Celtic. And I believe there is. I agree with Stephen that was maybe brought in as a young player who needed time to develop, but we all know you don't get that much time. You'll get time, but not that much time to make an impact. And the other ones are just not up to displacing the regulars. And
of course, but that's the point, though. It's not necessarily about displacing the regulars, is it? Because if you're talking, as an example, and let's focus on that area of the pitch, Yang. And, well, where's Marco Tilio? Is it just as an example? I know he was injured, but I'm sure the intention at the start of the season was that those two would have been ahead of James Forrest and Mikey Johnson in the pecking order. That's got to be the intention. Yeah.
Well, regulars that's been in the team perhaps for years, it's their job to displace them from the bench and then try and get in ahead of Maeda. Of course, it's up to Yang to be better than Maeda. Palma's the only one that's really come in and made a real stance in that position. But look, going forward, I think Celtic's got plenty of depth when it comes to defensive issues. Scales is a prime example of that, and you look at everybody who's left behind with Phillips and Lagerbielke and so on. But going forward, slim pickings.
You go for a European hangover, Stephen, that old cliche?
I mean, you could say that. At the weekend, during the week, when he brought on like Forrest and Phillips, you thought, what's he doing here? But it became apparent that he was wanting to get a draw, and he was hoping that it didn't go the same way that it went for the Lazio game. But today, it just seemed crap. And playing domestic teams, obviously Rangers beat 4-0 a couple of weeks ago, and then we're struggling for a draw today. I don't get it.
There is a positive spin on this, and I would say
this isn't like you. Where is this going?
Well, no, there'll be a negative spin after that. But the Pittodrie, Ibrox, Motherwell, Livingston, Tynecastle, now Easter Road, 6 away games and no defeats for Celtic. They've dropped a point today, but that's 2 points dropped out of 18. So there's the positive spin. The negative spin is that Celtic have 3 more Champions League group stage matches to play before they go out of Europe altogether. And those 3 matches will take their toll of these players as well. So there is the danger that there will be more league points dropped leading up to the game that's most important of all to Stephen. That's Rangers visit on the 30th of December.
It's always going to be a bit of both, I suppose, Gordon, and they're linked, because I was going to say it can't all be about recruitment, because clearly there is a hangover element there. You look at someone like Matt O'Reilly, the heights he hit during the week, just so quiet today. Same way like Maeda, Kyogo, etc. So there's clearly, and that must play a part. But then I get it, that's why you're then looking for a strong backup group to come on and help those guys out.
He didn't have a spark today, let's be honest about it. But I agree with the guys. When you look at last year under Postecoglou, we stood in here many a time, watched some of the games. The minute he made these substitutions, impact right away. He got so much of an impact. It's not happening just now for Celtic. And I think that if you look at Brendan Rodgers, he's probably making a statement in the fact that he never changed his team from Wednesday night. Now, if he's not get back up that's good enough, and not being disrespectful here, but good enough to play with Celtic, to go to Easter Road, make 3-4 changes and still be confident of winning the game, but he throws the same guys in again to go again, and it didn't work because, let's be honest, they were flat. The changes didn't work. Do you give a wee bit credit to Hibs because they're the opposition? They got the point. But I think all Celtic fans are starting to look now and think, yeah, we've got a good starting 11, very, very strong. Are they much a backup?
Is that the same view that you have, Gary in Kilsyth? Thank you to Stephen.
Hi, panel. That's the exact same view I have. Everything that just Stephen spoke about there is exactly how I feel, to be honest. If you look at the starting 11 today and the players that we brought on, if you switch it, for instance, like to last year, for instance, when we had like Giacomakis or we had a Jota, and to bring on like the squad this season is 100% weaker than it was last year, and it is only good for obviously me being a Celtic fan and Celtic, the fact that Rangers have slipped up a few times before, which has basically let us off the hook. But today, especially, showed that there's.
And Stephen's Gary's line's breaking up. We'll try and get that looked at. I suppose also, and this can't be an excuse because everybody has injuries, and then some teams get injuries really, really bad. But I suppose what it does show is if it happens in one or two areas, as an example, if Abada's not there, that's when you then dip in to the next one's down. Rio Hatate, Celtic fans would want him to start the game, and Paulo Bernardo be the one to come on. But like I say, part of football, loads of teams are having injuries at the moment, and you can understand where Gary's coming from.
Yeah, I go back to the summertime spending. It's bewildering. Yang, he'll never do it at Celtic.
It's extremely early for that, though, isn't it?
Well, he will never do it for me.
For me, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying we couldn't possibly know either way. Liam Scales, like two words to sort of end the argument.
Yang up for debate. Kwon, where is he? When was he last seen? Anywhere?
Yeah, he is miles off it.
Tilio. How did he manage to sign a player who is out for the first 3 months of the season with injury?
Well,
How did he manage to do
injuries
it?
happen, Hugh.
No, but I think he signed.
I think the glaring gap for Celtic is that front man. I think everything else kind of fills in. I think in your wide area, when Abada's back and Tilio will come back one day and Johnson's now in the mix and you've got Yang and whoever else in Maeda and Palma, but all you've got is Kyogo, who will score you goals through the middle. Now the replacement for Kyogo sometimes seems to be Maeda playing in that role, and if it's not him, it's today, it's O.
They are slaves to this model that they have of get them in cheap and try and sell them for big money, and it doesn't work. They've had spectacular successes and made many millions of pounds, but the Celtic fans are looking for another title, which now that Philippe Clement is in at Rangers, they're going to have to fight for it because he's not Michael Beale.
To be fair, I don't know if that means that the model's broken, though. It just means that if you're going to pick those ones, they have to be good ones.
Well,
like within that.
I go back to Yang, Kwon, Tilio, Chantilly Lace.
But
the model
I
is
would say Giacomakis would have been one of those. We didn't know what Giacomakis was going to be like, and for the first few weeks, I remember on here, not so sure, and all of a sudden, he actually challenges Kyogo. But then, if Gary's point is the squad was much stronger then, which is right, it was Ange Postecoglou's decision to say to Giacomakis, on you go. Now I wonder if Brendan Rodgers would have handled that situation differently.
I think ultimately he wanted to go, didn't he?
He did because of lack of game time, but Ange Postecoglou is a firm man with his beliefs, I'll get someone else. Now, he's then left 4 months later. I'm talking about Ange Postecoglou. And Brendan Rodgers has come in. And I just wonder if Brendan Rodgers was at the club at that time, or he had Giakoumakis in the summer, he would have tried to persuade him to stay rather than I'll get someone else in, because you've got a proven goal scorer there. What you didn't have was wasn't he a proven goal scorer?
I totally agree that they need another centre forward in there, but Giakoumakis he wanted to play every week, and I've nothing against that. I don't care if it was Brendan Rodgers, whoever. I think he'd made his mind up, he wanted to leave Celtic. I think the big problem now is when we get to January, I think it's got to be very interesting, because I think Brendan Rodgers has looked at one or two and thought, no, they're not for me, because he's putting on guys before them. Now, what I'll quickly say, Hugh, is I know what you're saying about Yang. He's 21, he's had 8 games.
He's just over from South Korea.
Yeah, I think we're a bit quick with that.
Let's ask Gary. Gary, is that the type of result that, you know, like, worries you generally going forward, or just a kind of one-off bad day?
No, I think it is a wee bit worrying, to be honest, because as Hugh said at the start of the show, he was expecting that result, and to be honest, normally I would disagree, but I actually felt the same, because I just think, like, especially with the squad recently, so away to Motherwell, last minute goal. Today I was expecting us to get a last minute goal normally, but I just didn't feel as if it was coming. But I agree in terms of what Mark was saying about, like, having another striker. I think that is the biggest issue we have, because when Kyogo isn't scoring, it doesn't. During the game, like when he's not in the game, we don't have anybody else to bring on. As you say, like, he's a bit part player, which, to be fair, isn't he really? I wouldn't say that's his fault, because it's hard as a striker just getting 5-10 minutes every couple of games. But I think that the recruitment in the summer, especially, I think it's been poor, to be honest.
Good man, Gary. That was Gary in Kilsyth. Celtic fans, keep that coming. What are you thinking after that? A sense of deep frustration out there. 01419511025, and some strong managerial reactions starting to make their way to us as well.
25 Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson, Gordon Dalziel are here. Keep your calls coming in, whether it is a reflection on today's results. Motherwell fans, I'd love to hear from you. If you've calmed down, 3-1 down with minutes to go, draw the game 3-3. St Mirren fans, come on. Think of all the phone-in shows over the years where you've maybe felt frustrated and angry at performances. You are absolutely flying, so why not give us a phone and share it? And Celtic fans, I can see you out there frustrated at today's result. Keep them coming. We can preview tomorrow's games. You Rangers fans might want to get involved there as well. I'm only about 40 minutes late on this, Hugh, but to put the nation out of their misery, quickly read the question and reveal the answer to the teaser if you can.
I played alongside Alan McGregor and Chris Commons. I've been managed by Nigel Clough and Alan Johnson. During my time in Scotland, I was once named Premiership Player of the Month, and I played at a World Cup. I am Jackson Irvine.
Jackson Irvine, well done. And the winners are Maxim, can't even read that name that's been handed to me, sorry, the handwriting's a bit dodgy. Maxim, though, you'll know who you are. Ryan Gilroy, I think, in second place, and the winner is Biscuit Brownies. Well done to you all. Thank you for taking part. Now, I've always got a predicament, right, at this time on a Saturday, because I'll get audio, I'll get interviews in from loads of games. We don't have that long. We're trying to get phone calls in, we're trying to spin a lot of plates, so we never get the chance to sort of play it all. And sometimes the weird teams, or the teams not in Glasgow in the West, will fall by the wayside and get left out. But if it's strong enough stuff, if it's worth hearing, we will play it. And just to football fans everywhere, doesn't matter what team you support, I want you to listen to this from Stephen McLean, the St Johnstone manager, because it's quite interesting.
It's not acceptable. Whether we had a good football, whether we played well first half, goals we lose are unacceptable. The basics of football, and then the second half we just imploded. It looked like a couple of the players chucked it. So it's my responsibility, but I'm lucky some of the players will play for me again. I just thought it's not happening under my watch, so whether I need to play young boys, I thought it was really, really poor.
Some of the players have chucked it and they won't play for me again. Wow.
That is his modus operandi as a manager. He persistently throws his players under the bus. I've said before, he seems to think that encouragement is a sign of weakness. I don't know that players respond to that style of management. They're certainly in trouble. The results are absolutely not good enough. They've taken 4 points from the first 9 games as a result of 4 draws, 5 defeats. They're bang in trouble, but I'm not sure that it's helped by suggesting that players have, to use his expression, chucked it. And I'm not sure it helps to say some of them will be lucky if they play for me again. Oh yes, they will, because you don't have anybody else. So I think it's an unwise road to go down.
Dangerous road to go down. I get it's raw just now. You know, you're only 15 minutes after the full-time whistle, and you know you've got a microphone put in front of you and you have to react, and there's probably a lot of things going through his head how he could handle that. And anger certainly came out there, because he's just came out the dressing room where he's probably roasted his players. So
yeah, very naive. A guy that is his first job. Look, he's frustrated, of course, as he's angry. I think he should have just taken a deep breath, got himself out that stadium, got up the road and dealt with it tomorrow or Monday.
Okay, let's bring in Kevin, who's a Celtic fan. How are you, Kevin?
How you doing? All right.
What are you thinking
You hear me
tonight?
all right? Aye.
Yes.
I just phoned up to. I'm sick of hearing about these Celtic fans moaning. We're top of the league. We just come off a great result against Atletico Madrid the other night, and they're still moaning. Nobody, man. I remember going to Celtic Park in the early 80s against Kilmarnock, and there was less than 11,000 in the ground. No, we're top of the league. And what do these guys want, man? I suppose we're the best supporters in the world. Prove it, Ed. Stop moaning and back your team. Sorry for being angry.
You can be as angry as you like, but I don't think they're not backing the team, though. If they feel that the team that they back with their time and their money hasn't invested properly and got a sufficient backup team for when games come thick and fast after good performances like the other night, it's alright to mention that, is it not?
Oh, listen, here, I'm sick of hearing about the morning. I've been in England for 23 years, doing like Manchester, always sticking up for Celtic and Rangers, 2 massive clubs. These guys make me sick, man, honestly.
Kevin was angry, wasn't he?
With the greatest respect to Kevin, what he was doing in the 1980s is neither here nor there. What Celtic were doing in the 1980s is neither here nor there. We're dealing with 2023, and the first 2 callers were concerned with the lack of depth in the squad. They were not slaughtering the team, but the lack of depth in the squad leads to what happened today. Brendan Rodgers is short of suitable replacements, glaringly with regard to an understudy for Kyogo, when O is transparently not up to the job. But I began at the very outset, even though I surprised you slightly, Gordon, by saying Celtic have been to Pittodrie, to Ibrox, to Motherwell, to Livingston, to Tynecastle and to Easter Road since the season started, and out of those 18 points they have taken 16 of them. Therefore, that is a success rate of a very high order. But today they fell drastically short of their own very high standards. As for Hibs, I think it's even worse for them, because they couldn't take Celtic today when they were A, out on their feet, and B, finished the match with a front three of Mikey Johnson, O and Jamesy Forrest. So Hibs, they're not going anywhere fast.
I think for some Celtic fans it's like the Stephen McLean interview, that it's raw, it's right after the final whistle. They go there, they pay their money to go Easter Road, and they want to win the game, and they come away and they're unhappy at the lack of depth. But you know, like Kevin was saying there, when you take a step back, and Hugh rightly points out what Celtic have done this season and some of the grounds that they've visited and got positive results, I think it's been an incredible start, and it's a clean sheet. And I don't think it was that Stephen or Gary at the start said that they were lucky to get a draw. I don't think they were. I don't think Hibs threatened them in any way. They just showed a lack of cutting edge at the top end of the pitch.
I think if you're a Celtic fan, look, Hugh's right about the stats there, but you're a bit concerned that you look at Wednesday night, the performance, first half I thought they were terrific, but it's a backup, and I think everybody's looking at that. But I'm not in the camp that I would be panicking now. These are young guys that have come over, they've not had a lot of game time, they're trying to settle in. Brendan Rodgers, very experienced manager. Look, you're putting 3 subs on today. 2 of them, the international footballers. Look at what Forrest has won. I know what you can say, well, he's had his time or whatever. I still think James Forrest hits the back of the net today instead of the bar. Everybody's saying it's a masterstroke bringing Forrest on. Mikey Johnston's a republic.
It's not even, because the problem with this, right, it's going to feel unfair on James Forrest. I don't think it's even about James Forrest, because you're right, he's won loads, but the Celtic fans want to feel like it's constantly moving forward, it's constantly looking forward. James Forrest and Mikey Johnston are not looking forward. I think that's the problem, and it's
in the eyes of the Celtic fans.
Well, I think factually,
yeah, but Brendan Rodgers must think there's still things to offer
compared to the other players in the building. Well, that's a different thing.
But the other players in the building, there's a lot of them probably,
because you can only play what you've got there.
Yeah, they've not hit the ground running, we know that, but there's still about what's going to be interesting for Brendan Rodgers and Celtic for me is the January window when it opens.
Celtic are always fond of telling you how much money they've got, and we know that they have approximately £72 million in the bank. And I've heard all the excuses about, oh, you can't sign big players, they want big wages and that'll upset the cart. But Celtic in January need backup for Kyogo, and they need it badly. And I still say they need backup for Joe Hart. And there are too many in the building who cannot come forward for Brendan Rodgers because they are projects.
Well, but Daz is right. I mean, January is going to be the turning point. Brendan Rodgers, I think, would have had a look at his players in pre-season, not even just now, pre-season. And good managers, get a feeling about what their squad is. I'm pretty certain he would have seen and perhaps seen something there, but not good enough to back up Kyogo. And every good team battling on, European and domestic need at least 3 strikers. You even look at the great Henrik Larsson. When Henrik Larsson wasn't scoring, who'd they have to back him up? You had John Hartson, you had Chris Sutton. Now, I'm not suggesting Celtic will go and get players of that calibre, but it was enough to take the weight off Larsson's shoulders, and Kyogo needs similar. Now, he had Giakoumakis, I was chatting about 10 minutes ago. Since he's left, though, he's not got many that can come in and chip in and help him. But Rodgers will well know that, and I'm sure he'll address it in January.
He has spoken to the media, so we'll let you hear his thoughts very soon indeed. Brendan Rodgers, what did he make of it? Because it seems there's a bit of a frustration, a bit of a mix. It was we've had some sticking up for Celtic, because you can always zoom out if it does, even if Rangers, because Rangers still have to take care of their business tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think, if you said end of October, 5-point gap, I'm sure Celtic fans would have taken it.
Yep.
But I suppose once you're in the week to week, you start to reassess.
The problem for me regarding Celtic is that they have 3 more Champions League ties to play, and they're going to take even more out of these players, and there's no proper backup.
Let's bring in Johnny and Shawlands. How's it going, Johnny?
Oh, not bad. How's yourself, guys?
Not bad. What side are you on then? First couple of calls frustrated at Celtic's depth and so on. Last one feels that's an overreaction. Where do you sit?
Yeah, like I say, I'm sort of falling on to that. You kind of stole my thunder a wee bit, talking about looking towards the January transfer window. And this team's actually, it reminds me of 2 years ago when Ange first came in, and obviously he did the sort of rebuild, and there were still players there that you were looking at and going, I can't wait till the winter window comes and get sort of an upgrade on the likes of David Turnbull and James Forrest, Anthony Ralston, wee Mikey Johnston, and here we are 2 years on, and you're still looking at the same players coming on to try and salvage a win against Hibs. It's the boards do have a lot to answer for, and like I say, the person who's poorest performance, I think, in the Celtic books might be Mark Laurels. I don't know what his job is, but it's been pretty underwhelming so far. Like I say, I think even you look at the summer transfer, you've maybe got 3 players have came in who've made a bit of a difference. The rest of it's been pretty poor. I mean, some of them aren't even on the bench. I believe we have 5 or 6 players we signed in the summer who they're not even there. They're not even in the squad. I don't understand what we were doing over the summer. Whenever you'd have asked any Celtic player, I think they would have said we need 3 or 4 good signings to improve on positions which need improving. We didn't do that, and we didn't bring in any squad depth whatsoever either. So, like I said, it's a big January transfer window for us just now, and that's what I think Hugh said. The fact we're 5 points ahead, after having the sort of the toughest start. Brendan Rodgers and his team that he's got have done well. We have done well. I think most Celtic fans would have bit your hand off for that.
Yeah, it's one way of judging it, I suppose, Mark, because I sometimes think we do overreact. You can't always sign players for the starting 11. It's just not going to happen. You need a strong squad and strong options. But Johnny's maybe onto something. If you've got a number of new signings that don't even make the bench on a match day,
I think that shows you your recruitment's not gone the way that you hoped it would be. You always expect people to come in and make a difference. That's what, and you always hope to do, but it quite often doesn't happen. And I think in recent times, I'm talking about when Ange Postecoglou came in, Celtic fans were spoiled because everything he touched at that period seems to turn to goal. But you got to remember there was a good few under Ange Postecoglou that didn't. And I was just having a flick through as well there. Haksabanovic, forgot about him. He's out on loan just now as well. So he's somebody that didn't quite make the impact as well that everybody thought he might. So they're carrying a humongous squad, and they've maybe at that humongous squad got 14 maybe reliable ones that you could maybe hang your hat on. And I know they've got one or two injuries in there, but again, I'll go back to it. I think the main point of this whole discussion is the front man. I think everything else falls into place, but if you've not got a front man to back up your main front man, then results like today can happen.
Let's hear from Brendan Rodgers. This was his take on the game.
I didn't think we played with the tempo and speed that we wanted to until the last 20 odd minutes. I think we dominated the game and were long spells in the game, but the first 60 minutes was too slow from our perspective. We didn't get them running quick enough, and then obviously we made the changes, and last probably 25 minutes then the tempo increased, which then pushed them back, and we connected the game much better then. So yeah, we had about 20 attempts on goal. Jamesy hits the crossbar. They made some really good blocks, and but we just weren't able to make the breakthrough. Listen, the players had a massive obviously effort at the weekend, or midweek, but we have to be able to go again, especially with a short rest period.
There was one, Hugh, it's just I think maybe nipped off in that edit there, but he also said something that you've mentioned. Can't believe you're on the same wavelength. Celtic fans will shudder at the thought. He says we've won 8 and drawn 2 and been to virtually every tough away ground in the country.
Yeah, 6 away games, 16 points out of a possible 18. That is a high success rate. Brendan Rodgers' problem is that when he turns to look at the bench, the replacements are not adequate.
Anyone in particular frustrate you today, Johnny?
I think I have a wee bit of sympathy for the starting 11 when we have just had a tough game midweek. Starting that slow isn't great. I'd like to have seen us come at the traps a bit quicker. And yeah, obviously the bench isn't great, but we're going to have to bring players on at some point. And I'd rather we came at the blocks fast, maybe got a couple of goals early on, and then you can use the subs, and it's almost they'll just be used to see out the game as opposed to trying to chase it. I think, again, I've been on before and gave him a bit of a hard time. I think McGregor needs to do it a wee bit more again. I think this season's been his worst so far for Celtic, and like it's not as if he's putting in poor performances. He's just not that noticeable. Every so often, sort of like the season's gone by, he would do something in a game which gives the players that he's playing beside a wee lift. I don't see that from him just now. It's as if he's kind of, I don't like to think he's hiding, but he's getting marked out the games and he doesn't do enough to try and get on the ball and bring something positive to the team. And then, like I said, Maeda's such a hit and miss with the quality he's got, and so he's one of the most infuriating players I think I've ever seen play for Celtic, where you'll do something incredible and then the next touch you'll do something incredible in the other sort of sphere of things.
You better believe that Maeda is a vital member of the team, and Brendan Rodgers would never be without Maeda so long as he's fit. McGregor, on top of domestic football and Champions League football, is an ever-present for Stevie Clarke and has everything to do for everyone. He could never be accused of hiding, which I think is, you were on the verge of accusing him of that.
But Johnny specifically said, I'm not saying he's hiding.
Well, why did the word hiding come into it at all?
To say that's not what he's saying, but anyway.
Well, anyway, McGregor is not the root cause of what happened today. The root cause of what happened today is that after a terrific performance and 4 goals at Tynecastle, an even better performance and 2 goals against Athletic Madrid, there was nothing left.
I think it's a compliment to McGregor what Johnny's saying. I do agree with part of what he's saying. I don't think McGregor is playing to the capabilities that he's certainly got, because he's such a fantastic player. And I think what Johnny's saying is 100% right. And that's a compliment to the ability of Callum McGregor as a leader. I don't think he's grabbing games at times with the scruff of the neck and that vital pass, scoring a goal or whatever it may be.
Think Rodgers has changed his role? No. I remember when Rodgers came in, he changed Scott Brown's role to that more defensive minded, stay in your zone, don't be running left, right and centre.
It could be.
This isn't the same as Rodgers' first time round though, is it?
No, but I just wonder, I think any team like a Rodgers team needs someone in there in the middle of the park to be ultra disciplined. Maybe, I don't know, but I agree with what you're saying. McGregor's not been as influential as he has been past seasons.
Thank you to Johnny. We will keep going with the review of today and look ahead to tomorrow as well. If you fancy it, Rangers fans, would you make changes for the game against Hearts? Let us know.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Into the final part of tonight's Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Mark Wilson, Hugh Keevins and Gordon DL are still with us. You okay over there?
Yeah.
See, next time you want to move your mic and bang it around, just tell me, I'll turn it off, and then
thank you, Gordon.
The nation won't have to listen to that.
I can only
racket.
apologise to the nation.
So we're looking back on today's football and of course looking forward to tomorrow as well. Let's hear a little bit from Philippe Clement.
They have a few interesting players. Their striker played in Belgium. I know him from before also. He played in my old team where I started playing football, and he's doing really well. So it's going to be a game that we want to be dominant, that they're going to play transition game, that they're going to count on set pieces. So we need to be on top of our game with and without the ball.
If we're lumping everything together and doing the big Glasgow football drama, but Hugh, then Rangers have been presented an opportunity today, which is exciting in one way, but puts its own type of pressure on. If you then pass that opportunity up, it doesn't go down well.
Brendan Rodgers and Philippe Clement have the same problem. They've been handed a group of players, many of whom are not up to it. And Rangers, still to concede a goal under Clement, are far from the finished article. I don't want to contradict the new Rangers manager, but Lawrence Shankland, the player he's talking about, who's been in Belgium, he's not doing very well. He's only scored 1 goal in his last 9 games.
And a good goal it was though in his last game.
However, 1 goal in 9 games, and Hearts are poor. The lead at the top will be cut to 5 points tomorrow because Rangers can't be so bad they can't beat Hearts at home.
It's hard to make a case for Hearts right now, Gordon Dale, but we have seen obviously St Johnstone go to Celtic. We've seen Rangers, well, obviously drop points in a number of games, but not under this manager so far. So interesting one tomorrow.
No, I can't make a case for Hearts. I really can't. I can't see them getting anything. I think they've got a good squad of players. Unfortunately, they're not playing as a team as far as I'm concerned. I think Rangers coming off that draw the other night, they are very confident, clean sheet. The fact that also that gap can be cut tomorrow. You're at Ibrox, front of a full house. I think it's a great opportunity to put a little bit of pressure back onto Celtic. I just do not see anything but a Rangers victory tomorrow.
Richard is on the line. Richard's a Rangers fan. How do you feel tonight, Richard?
Yeah, good luck, good guys. Thanks very much for having me on. I'm very positive. I just want to point out, Gordon, I think I was on a few weeks ago and had a bit of a rant and threatened leaving in the WhatsApp group because I couldn't handle the pressure.
I remember.
The slaggings and everything else, right? Before I give you my point, I'm happy to say that my cousin has now left the WhatsApp group today after the Celtic result, so that's a bonus.
You're a fickle bunch. 1 draw, still potentially 5 points clear.
I know. Some people can't handle the pressure. I took it all, but here we are.
What are you thinking then? Are you feeling a bit more positive now the manager's been changed?
Listen, absolutely. I was really nervous about it. I've got to be honest with you, Gordon. I was really nervous about who Rangers would get in, and personally, I thought we should be bringing somebody with experience in the Scottish League. But Hugh's said it a few times. This guy has got the pedigree. He looks like he just knows what it means. He's got a lot of passion on the sidelines, and maybe I like my words here, right? But I'm going to say it. I think this guy might get a tune out of Dessers. And I'm pretty certain I said Pep Guardiola couldn't get a tune out of him. But I think that things are about to really tick for Rangers. And I personally think that tomorrow we'll run through Hearts no problem. We'll close the gap. And once again, Celtic will implode. And I think they're feeling the pressure already. I agree that they're maybe lacking depth. And maybe Rodgers has got a difficult task in terms of when he looks at the bench. But the pressure's on. Celtic are folding.
When you say once again, Richard, sort of implies that they do that a lot, which has not really been the case, has it?
We've seen it a few times. I think we've seen the pressure get to Celtic and they go through wee spells, and I know every team can, but it's as if Rangers' results turn and as do Celtic's at the same time. And for me, maybe it's optimism, maybe I'm just being sceptical, but I think that they've got one eye on Rangers and they can see the new guys come in, they can see the changes, they can see things happening at Rangers, and I think that they're fearful of Scotland's biggest club.
On the basis that Celtic have won 11 of the last 12 league titles, I am struggling to get to your point. And you are, by your own admission, a man who can't handle the pressure and was screaming on here the last time.
Oh,
he
stayed in the group chat though. He put his helmet on and got on with
but
it.
he's admitting that he came on and lost his shape while he was on here.
God, you said shape there.
So, I'll just counsel you on this one. The Celtic have won 11 of the last 12 titles. Philippe Clement has had 2 games, and Dessers, I would point you in the direction of your fellow Rangers fans. The jury is very firmly out on Cyril Dessers, but having said that, Rangers will close the gap from 8 to 5 tomorrow. Hearts represent no form of opposition whatsoever.
I think the Rangers fans are happy with the appointment. The manager off to a terrific start, got to keep it going tomorrow. Big question with Richard, and I hope he does, but so far of what I've seen of him, I would need more than the Rangers manager to get a tune out of Dessers. Dessers needs to do it for himself. Has he got the ability? I don't really know, because every time I've watched him, he's not impressed me. But a new manager's in, could bring that confidence. If he starts scoring goals, he turns the Rangers fans around on his side. But he's a big job still to do.
Yeah, Rangers fans should be optimistic, I think, with the start that Philippe Clement's made. Maybe not as optimistic as Richard, and maybe not concentrating on Celtic. I think Celtic will take care of themselves, but Rangers had to get their own house in order. They had to get players playing to the best of their ability. Clement has made a good start, and tomorrow's another test. Listen, I agree with the guys at Hearts look poor, and in Rangers' last 4 games there, 4 wins, 12 goals, 1 against, so the case is there right in front of you. But it's another test at an away ground that he has to pass, and I believe they will tomorrow. Interesting again, what shape, what team he picks after Europe.
This is a hard category, Hugh, because of all, you get a lot of different types of criticism, but this is my favourite, definitely from Ruddy, who says Keevins is giving it the reverse psychology about Hearts being rotten. Can't hide his bitterness. That's not how reverse psychology works. No. Hugh Keevins cannot influence Hearts by saying that they're not going to win. That's not what it means.
But it's always nice to hear from a half-wit. So
I've got to clear up, Gordon. I was saying it was at Tynecastle's, is at Ibrox. My learned colleague to the left of me there pointed at
I think the city of Edinburgh, the capital of the country, is in a shocking state. Hearts and Hibs, you couldn't make a team out the pair of them. And Hearts will prove that's the case tomorrow.
It's just reverse psychology.
It's not reverse psychology. They played against Celtic and were fortunate not to lose by 6 or 7 last Sunday, and they go to Ibrox in a very poor state.
There we are. Not giving Hearts a chance, any of you?
No. Absolutely.
By the way, a big day for Stephen Naismith as well, I think.
I feel like Livy midweek is a big night for Stephen Naismith.
Yeah, but of course. But tomorrow as well, if you go
get to that if he wins, though. If he wins,
well, of course,
pressure off.
But if it goes the opposite way and really badly, then big afternoon for
big game on the telly as well. Kilmarnock Aberdeen tomorrow. Derek McInnes, easy for me to say, against his former team.
I fancy a home win there. I really do. I think last week's
European
result,
hangover again.
European hangover. Aberdeen not travelling well. Derek starting to get them gelled together. Yep, home win for a Rugby Park side.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I think they have goal scorers, and they proved it midweek. Aberdeen, they have goal scorers. Their defending was awful, but I think Aberdeen will win away.
There we have it. That was a quick Saturday afternoon. Lots to get through. Celtic dropping points, which they don't often do, which means an added incentive for Rangers tomorrow when they take on Hearts. A wonderful win for St Mirren. A terrific comeback from Motherwell, but they do settle for a point at home to Ross County. And Dundee taking to life back in the top flight just fine. Another win, this time away at Livingston. So Saturday's done and dusted. What will Sunday throw up? We'll find out on Monday night from 6. Make sure you join us. We'll look back on all of the weekend's biggest talking points, and the GBX is up next.
This is the story of that day you cleared out the garage. Classics with the best MC in the galaxy. Or the story of that workout when you lifted a weight off and harnessed the power of your emotions. Or the story of that long-haul flight, sat on the plains of the Namibian desert, soothed by the returning rains. From the Corrupt FM podcast to Darren Brown's Bootcamp for Emotion and Sleep Sound with Maya Jama, for the story you need right now, listen on Audible. Subscription required. See audible.co.uk for terms.